What's good, everybody? Happy Wednesday, man. It's hump day. Y'all go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Come on in, man. It's Wednesday and all is well in Tigerland. Hopefully everybody had a good day. Hopefully everybody is having a good week. Back at it like we always are. And appreciate everybody that pull up, man, and rock with us, man. I know we ain't playing no football right now, so it's kind of, getting kind of a little, everybody getting a little, we missed the football already, man, but we got to stay the course. We're going to keep bringing that good stuff to you guys, man, and continue to do whatever we can do to keep the Jack State news at the forefront at everybody's front door, man. So all is well, though. All is well. A lot still happening. A lot going on with recruiting. Just got the recruiting schedule for the weekend. We back at it this weekend. Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Shout out to D. Corey C and the whole squad. I'm sure the fellas will be up and hopefully Miss Rochelle tonight whenever they get a second. But until then, y'all going to be rocking with me as usual. Great interview today with we sat down with Quay Davis, freshman offensive lineman, freshman All-American, all that good stuff, man. Great interview, just talking to him, man, just really getting a really good perspective. Second interview on Tiger Talk, and he talked about his first season, and just gave some perspectives on some things that we haven't, that the average person probably wouldn't know. You know what I mean? So it was good to sit down with Quay, and I really enjoyed it, man. So it was definitely good for that. And I think you guys are going to love it when we do drop that interview. Got a lot of interviews right now on tap. We got a crew of about 10 coming in this weekend on official visits. So the coaches are grinding, man. They working that portal pretty hard, trying to out recruit the room. Since our season is over, I mean, at this point, all this about right now is just getting better and trying to put together a really good roster as we get ready to go into the spring 24. So y'all know what it is, man. It's the same thing as always. So Corey's doing a really good job of dropping the interviews right now. And hopefully you guys, and we're keeping them short, man. They're short and sweet. I mean, it's not much you can really talk about with a young man that's on a visit, other than the fact that, why he's visiting, who he's, who he is, what position, all that good stuff. And, what city he represents, the high school, what's the interest, the coach that's recruiting him, so forth and so on, man. So all those little tidbits, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the interviews, man. I just kind of in a somber mood right now, just because, I was watching the news, man, and I didn't even realize it, but another mass shooting, man, in Vegas, man. I was like, damn. I know our Tigers are heading to Vegas, not this weekend, but next weekend, and it's like the second time, that's happened in Vegas, and I wasn't even aware of it, man. I was like, man, you used to, if you hear something like that, it used to be all over the news, but now I guess we've gotten so used to it, and it's like, man, it's almost like it's business as usual, in America, man, with these mass shootings, man. So you got to be, 60-year-old. Yeah, that's right, man. 60-year-old man, shooting. That's what they told us. So, it's crazy though. It's crazy. Quay Davis is a great kid. I met him one of the Ethan Terrell's game. Yep. He is. He was. We actually talked about Ethan in the interview. So I'm not sure when that interview will drop. We got a ton of interviews that have already been that's ready. We can drop an interview every day, man. We've been working, and it's gonna be a busy weekend. What it do? Rock Wayne, what's up, bro? What it do, man? Good to see y'all, man. Let me see who in these comments. ASVP in the house. Hardest working man in the media business, doing his thing. Hey, Granny Ann, how you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Hey, Miss Alice, how you doing? Happy Wednesday, D. I love. Man, good to be back. I guess I can go ahead and kind of since I'm we're waiting. What up, KT Duck? I kind of got a little bit of time for anybody to get on. I ruffled some feathers, man, yesterday on Twitter. Ruffled a few feathers, and we don't mean no harm when we say what we say, but I'll go ahead and just kind of jump right into that. Y'all remember the show from last Friday? We had Brother Shaw on the show, Coach Shaw. He came up and we talked about just there's over 1,000 kids since Monday that have jumped into the portal. A ton of kids. Hey, Coach, how you doing, Coach? Good to see you. Good to, and that's right, man. I mean, listen. I said this is what I wound up saying. I said, listen, the world doesn't, and this was this kind of a continuation from Charleston White's interview. You know what I mean? He talked about that. We don't like truth. The world, some people in the world don't like truth. We prefer digestible lies. You know what I'm saying? Tell me that I'm pretty. You know what I'm saying? Tell me that I'm perfect. Don't highlight my imperfections. Don't tell me that I'm really a butthead with, I'm narcissistic and a butthead and I don't listen very well. I'm selfish and, the things that you probably need to hear to get yourself better and be a better person, a better friend, a better significant other, a better employer, employee, etc. You know what I mean? And what tends to happen is we're talking about sports, we're talking about the portal, it's football season. And it was just a continuation of the conversation that we had last Friday. And what he was saying is that I think it's okay to say that HBCU football is a lower tiered football than Power 5 football. It's not an insult. It just is what it is. We all know that. That's why when we play some of those games, we just don't want to get embarrassed because we don't have the resources. And when you don't have the resources, you don't have the same talent that's on par. However, even though that is the case, you have a lot of dogs, a lot of top tier players that play on the FCS level, and they dominate. They play at a high level. They dominate. My thing was this: if you haven't dominated, I see some players that enter the portal right now, and I'm saying to myself, the film that they're dropping is practice film. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put out a disclaimer. Now, some players probably weren't given an opportunity. Some players feel like they can move to a better situation so they can get on the field. They probably got a lot more players in the room, and they don't really want to risk using all their college eligibility trying to fight for minutes. So it's best to just get in the portal and find a new home. I get it. Sometimes there's a lot of reasons why you would get in the portal if you're just looking for a better situation. There's nothing wrong with that. Only thing I said was, if you haven't dominated in the FCS or the SWAC, what makes you think you're going to be able to go to the Power 5 or FBS level and dominate? Now, a lot of people felt like I was attacking players because I went on to say, look, what is it? Is it the coaches? Was the food, the city? I wasn't talking about Jackson, and I wasn't talking about Jackson State per se. I was talking about any player that this can apply to. Like, what is it? Is it your teammates? Is it your coaches? Is it the city? Is it the school? Is it the food? What is it? I was like, no, usually it's you. You got players that have been to multiple schools in a short period of time. At some point, you're going to have to look in the mirror and you're going to have to face yourself. And you're going to have to understand that I don't care where you go. I don't care where you go, whether it's FCS, FBS, Group of 5, D1, D2, you are going to have to compete. You're going to have to get on the field. You're going to have to dominate. And if you don't believe me when I tell you that dominating in the space that you're in could yield very fruitful results, then let's go back to the 2021 NFL draft. The first HBCU player off the board in the 4th round was a D2 player by the name of Joshua Williams. Played for Fayetteville State, or was it Fort Valley State? I think it was Fayetteville State. Yep, Fayetteville. Got drafted 4th round to the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to know why Joshua Williams got drafted 4th round to the Kansas City Chiefs? Is because he dominated. And he's a really good kid, really good player. And the scouts saw him, they found him. And you know what? He's still in the NFL right now. You know who was the second player? Got drafted from the HBCU ranks? Jacoby Durant from South Carolina State. DB dominated. He was the two-time MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. The third player to get drafted was James the Problem Houston, if my memory serves me correctly. Yep. And the last player to get drafted was Jatari Carter from Southern, offensive lineman. Now, the thing that all three of those players had in common was they dominated. They did. They absolutely dominated in space. We all know. And then you see, you fast forward. There are also players that dominated that didn't get drafted, but they're on the roster right now. You look at, Xavier Smith dominated at FAMU. Isaiah Land dominated at FAMU. I mean, and both of them on the roster and playing. James Houston's hurt. Isaiah Bolden's hurt. Injury reserve, be back in the 2024 season for the Patriots. My point is, there are levels to the portal. And it's just, when you're talking about really just having real true dialogue about it, it just kind of is what it is. Some of these young men, you got a lot of quarterbacks that are moving around because the value of a quarterback right now is very high. And you can go make $1 million. Why stay where you are when you can go somewhere else? Dylan Gabriel, starting quarterback for Oklahoma, is probably going to wind up at Oregon. Cam Ward, starting quarterback for Washington State, probably going to wind up at like Ohio State, something like that. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Starting quarterback, Ohio State, projected to possibly be at Miami, play for the Hurricanes next year, and they're going to get paid for it. So the reality of the matter is that, there are players that will use the transfer portal for a come up. There are some players that I've seen a lot of SWAC players from this year from various different teams that actually played pretty damn well, and who knows, they're getting some group of 5 offers. Some of them are getting power 5 offers, and they're cashing in on those opportunities. And hey, by all means, go do it. But here's what I will say. We'll just use the players that played for Jackson State. The players that played at Jackson State that went up and had good seasons, they were dominating at Jackson State. So when you say it that way, it's a little bit more palatable for folks to hear that, listen to that, and feel like, okay, that's respectable. But when I say, what makes you think you're going to dominate over here if you're not dominating over there? That people act like that was so harsh. That was so offensive. You speak the truth and you let the chips fall where they may. And what happened is some folks got hit with some of them chips. Damn chip hit somebody upside the head like a rock. And they thought I was talking about them. I didn't even have them in mind. I had no player in mind when I said that. I actually had Brother Shaw. Here he is right there. I was thinking about what he said, and I just kind of saw it was day one of the portal. I kind of saw what happened in the first day and just kind of was just looking at the college football landscape. I know I represent Jackson State, and everything is pro Jackson State, just Jackson State that for me. So a lot of times when I speak in the public or I'm on Twitter, people think, you know what, bro? I'm going to drop the link for you. Come on up. Let's chop it up. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Whenever you're ready, come on up. Let's chop it up. And I say that because that's right, hit dogs holler. But this is what I'm saying. I'm not pinpointing anybody. People can take that. And this is what I ain't gonna do. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I ain't wasting no time with nobody that if I don't follow you, it was somebody that was going on and on trying to attack. I really don't even know what they said. I never read one tweet because they were muted. I muted them. Whoever that little rattler person is. I muted them. And then I was like, you know what, let me just block them. And if people on the internet, the only reason I knew that he was talking about it because I saw people defending me. And I'm like, I'm not even interested in hearing what you got to say because I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm not doing the dialogue thing about that. What's happening, brother? Appreciate you coming on up.
Yes, sir. What's happening, Ken?
Oh man, you got it, man. You saw it, man. I started a little ruckus yesterday. So I said we're gonna talk about it tonight. We're gonna take it a little step further.
Yeah, man. I mean, people just don't understand. Like, that's just what it is. It's the truth. and it's not directed at anybody. It's not an attempt to put anybody down, but
Right.
it's just what it is.
Right.
Um, to expound even more on it, let's say, all right, no disrespect, but when I don't want anybody in here, I'm not talking about you. I just don't want anybody watching to take this as disrespect.
Okay.
But what back in the day, if somebody started at an FBS school and they went to an FCS school, we called that a bounce back.
Yep. D1
So
bounce back.
D1 bounce back, exactly. So if you a D1 bounce back and you bounce back to the FCS and you don't dominate in the FCS, and then you transfer again from the FCS, the only way to go is backwards. You already on a backwards moving path. So if you bounce back and you don't like where you at and you hop into the portal again, where do you think the next step is going to be? So, you're seeing stuff like that all around the country. And again, I just think that people only see the success stories of the portal and they get lost in that. They see, the outliers of the 10 guys from FCS that wind up at big time schools and get a bag, and don't see the 250 others that
That's right.
get
That's a good number.
stuck,
Get stuck, bro.
and they never get another scholarship because they out there chasing something, and now your dream is gone prematurely.
I've actually seen a player. Player was a starter for us. Won't say the position. I mean, just gonna even try to do that. I'll just leave it at that. But TD, what's happening, brother?
What's up, man?
You got it. But I'll say this. I was wondering where this person was, Shaw. I was like, man, where they at? Real over with, bro.
How you doing, Mr. Shaw?
All right, what's up, TD?
And the reality of it is that I was talking to Zoe today. I was like, man, I have to really now granted, there are some players that played well enough this past season that can say, you know what, I'm betting on myself. I put the work in. I made, second team or first team, or either I had the stats, or I may have some prospects, and I may even have somebody reaching out to me. I respect that. My thing has always been just have something. Don't go out there blindly saying I'm just gonna, because the reality of the matter is it's a lot of big time FBS players that are in the portal right now, and they're gonna take priority. You get what I'm saying? They're going to the programs around the country that want to get better fast and try to get into this, because this is what's happening, Shaw. Next year, you're not going to have a situation like the Florida State debacle with not getting into the playoff, right? You're going to have a 12-team playoff in 24. You see what I'm saying? Well, 25 rather, 24, 25. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these teams are like, I really just need to be in the top 12 and I can get into that college football playoff, which is going to be more money. So a lot of these schools are going to try to cash in on some of this group of 5 talent that or top tier FCS talent at the skill position or either in the trench play that's actually proven that they can play at a high level, and they're going to take a chance on them. But what's happening, though, here's what you said. On the flip side to it, the ugly side of it is you see players that haven't really produced. They have just middle of the pack, mediocre years. And now, granted, there are some outliers. They can go to a better situation and find themselves saying, you know what, this will be better for me. And it may work out. But there are a lot of players, and I think that's what we were speaking to, or that's what we were trying to say. We're only addressing one segment of it, and that is the player that just assumes, just because I think I'm going to enter the portal and I think this stuff is going to happen for me, it may not happen for you. And here's what you have to do in order to get into the portal. You have to basically take the scholarship that you are sitting on, that you are utilizing, and you're going to give that back to the school that you're at, and you're going to go out and hunt for a new opportunity with a new scholarship, which is just crazy to me if you don't have anything or if you didn't really dominate. If you dominated, I get it. You want to try to cash in on your efforts, by all means. We need a new situation, new circumstance. You're not getting the opportunity, by all means. I get it. But that's kind of that was my premise, and it was based off of what we talked about.
Yeah, and it's like if you're entering the portal and the film you're trying to use to get recruited is practice film, you are crazy.
I saw that today. I saw a player that used to play at Jackson State, was recruited by Prime, went to an FCS program that didn't do very well and didn't hit the field. I was wondering what they did, and then they just hit the portal again, and the film that they showed was practice film. I said, now, maybe they were injured. I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt. And maybe they're looking for an opportunity. But I was saying to myself, man, if I was in this particular person's situation, I would probably just go somewhere. If I got to cash in on my last 2 years, man, I'm going to try to go somewhere I can immediately get on the field and make an impact and try to dominate. Even if
where do you think that would be, Ken?
D2.
You see what I'm saying?
That's your point.
It's like you was at a D1 school where, you know, everything probably wasn't perfect. But now we here at D2 and you say your goal is still to make it to the NFL. Not saying that it's not possible, but it's not likely.
That's correct. Damn, 56% of portal kids got stuck in 2022. And this is what we do. This is all we're saying. I would much rather you be mad at me or say Ken is a whatever you want to name it to be, or you want to unfollow me, block me, say I'm hating or whatever. I'll take that if it helps someone think and say, you know what? If somebody ran across that tweet and said, you know what, maybe I need to not hit the portal this year. Maybe I need to come back and try to get better and develop myself, especially these tweeners. And I call them tweeners. The tweeners are the ones that a couple of years into college, you don't have a degree yet, but you got 2 years of eligibility left.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of right in the middle. How about you just lock in? See, this is what I'm saying. If you can set yourself up, this is free game, y'all. You can set yourself up for a great portal entry if that's what you want to do. If the portal is what you want to do and you want to leave from where you at because you feel like you're bigger than where you are, okay, cool. How about you cash in on that 3rd year, get your degree from that school, leave honorably, right? Then hit the portal with a year, and now you got a degree, you got good film, and you got another year to go level up. And we've seen that work for a lot of kids. But what happens is a lot of kids we want that instant gratification, and you don't want to put that work in. And I'm obligated to speak the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because somebody's feelings going to get hurt because I'm not really attacking you, because I'm not looking at a face, y'all, or TD, when I'm saying that. I'm just looking at the landscape of the land. We're seeing kids that were balling, and now they've hit the portal. I normally don't pay attention. I say it's not shut up. I normally don't pay attention around the conference a lot. But, man, I was looking at the conference today. Southern getting hit pretty hard. Grambling getting hit with some portal entries. Alabama State got hit. A lot of teams around the conference is just getting gutted from the portal. I'm talking about the top tier talent. Now, they can still hit the portal and go try to, fill in some holes, but it's definitely happened.
But like Grambling and Southern, it's a little different because they're going through a coaching change. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
But even with that, right? Your coach leaves. Some of those guys, maybe that's what they needed, was a new set of eyes on you in order to get an opportunity. Now, if you're a top level guy like I'm trying to think, that running back from Southern, he's been pretty productive in the SWAC for the last 2 years. He's gonna get a chance.
Dylan.
Yeah, he'll get a chance to play somewhere else. It might not be at a big Power 5 school. He might transfer, to the SWAC, to another SWAC school. That's a little.
I ain't talking about that. That's not the conversation. So I'm not going to take the conversation in that direction. I don't care what we're talking about. You can find another version of it on the other side. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the kids that have done that. Nobody is. This is what you're missing when you bring stuff like that up, bro. Nobody is telling anybody what to do. It's free game. It's just saying, hey, you do what you want to do with this. We're not standing in the way of that. They have every right to hit the portal. And I've had a lot of people, man, what's it to you? Why are you concerned with what they do? I said, I'm not concerned. Why are you concerned with my tweet? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing. It's not that someone, I'm not pinpointing that. If we have that conversation, then yes, we can talk about the coaches that screw kids over, and we can make that be the conversation. But we're not gonna mix it up and make it and start talking about, something else. TD, you want to jump in here? Then Zoe?
Hey, what's up, man? I was trying to come up earlier, Ken, man. I think you sent out the live stream, brother. Wasn't able to come up. But you were saying some stuff earlier that I was that I wanted to address, but that's fine. I want to ask you this, bro. What did you say on the what's the deal with your tweet? I mean, what happened with that?
My tweet was basically, I said, if you think that if you don't dominate on the FCS or SWAC level, what makes you think you're going to dominate at the FBS level? So what makes you think that if you haven't dominated? And I said, I went on to say, is it? I asked question. I'm like, is it the city? Is it the school? Is it the food? Is it your team? I'm like, no, it's you. The tape don't lie. Production over hype. Production is greater than hype, bro. Hype don't matter. That wasn't directly at a particular player. That was direct. And I said, this goes for any player. That's what was in my mind, and that's what I was just talking. That's what I was more so thinking. Matter of fact, I'll do it this way. Shout out to Malachi Bailey. I think he played for Alcorn. He was on Twitter today saying, man, he said, man, some folks, this portal gonna have some folks asked out. You're gonna get stuck because you're jumping out there just and you deal within the space that you're in. So yes, I said FCS/SWAC. So I was being particular within the players that play within that realm. If you haven't dominated, but this was a continuation from the conversation we had on Friday when Shaw joined. That's why he jumped up and down to carry the conversation on. So that's what we was talking about. Go ahead.
Hey, so I asked you guys this question. I mean, since you said that, how many people have left the FCS realm or left schools, schools like SWAC schools and went up and really dominated?
Well, this is what I'm saying. The players that went up actually did well. So let's start with the players. I'm gonna stick with the Jack State players real quick. And the correlation is gonna fit what Shaw just said to the T. Shador Sanders had a good season. He Cameron Silman Craig. He was a good kid. He was a really good SWAC player. Played well when he got his opportunity. We know the Colorado kids. Let's get away from Colorado.
Right.
Let's go to TCU. Willis Patrick, all SWAC offensive lineman. He started for TCU the entire season. Played well. Niles Gaddy, SWAC first team, potential defensive player of the year, was ranked number 4 from edge rusher, from Pro Football Focus, as a potential edge rusher coming out of the SEC. Had a really good season. Starter. So I'm just saying, you're gonna have to look at some of them take a dip in stats because you may be splitting reps or whatnot, but you don't even have to go to the FBS. I mentioned Trevante Rucker. He went to University of Tennessee Martin. They won the OVC. He had a great season. I think he was one of their top 2 to 3 wide receivers on the team. Kevin Coleman. Now, the way I gauge Kevin Coleman was a true sophomore, played for ranked Louisville. He was a starting punt returner, and he got really good minutes, CD. So you have to look at the production versus the minutes. The way they used him, he had a good year. I mean, it was actually relative to what he did at Jackson State, a few less touchdowns, because it ain't like we just used Kevin Coleman up. You know what I'm saying? He had a pretty decent year, but he was a 4-star kid that got an opportunity, and it showed. Who else did I mention? Who else is out there? Y'all can jump in whenever you get it. Now, when you mention the likes of Herman Smith, Barron Hobson, Big Country that went to Tarleton State, a lot of those players didn't really see. Shane Hooks went to Auburn, 9-10 catches for the year, 200 yards, maybe a touchdown or 2. That was a drop-off. because he had terrible quarterback.
I would actually alter your argument in this way, Ken. Let's take away the Jack State player period that Deion Sanders was here. Let me tell you why. Because if we really want to be honest, we can use both seasons as outliers, right? Because we can say that it's an anomaly. So just follow me on this. Let's take away every Jackson State player because that's not the norm. We're one school, 12-team conference, right? So it's an anomaly. It's an outlier. Take everything from Jackson State away. Now look at all the remaining 11 teams and let's look at each individual player that left from this conference that went to other conferences. The percentages literally are like barely over 1% when you talk about having any success rate.
Yeah, you're looking at the kid that left Texas Southern and went to Houston, Hamilton. He had a pretty good year.
What
but
about
again?
Steve,
he's another dominant
the only player
that went to Jacksonville State. What did he do?
I'm gonna tell you nothing. The only player of note, and it wasn't even this season or the prior season. It would have to be Tank Dale. And but even Tank Dale
went to JUCO first.
But here's the thing. But even Tank Dale wasn't a player that thrived in SWAC. He had an okay season. It wasn't like he was put up like what we're talking about, having great, to your point, great success to elevate himself and then go to another conference. You see what I'm saying? Or to move up. So, and again, he went JUCO first, then went to Houston. So it's even proving the point even further. That number is barely over 1% when you talk about all the other 11 schools. And it could kind of include us, but I'm choosing to remove us out for the example because now it spotlights it even greater. Because what I'm saying is you're not having players with great regularity moving up to the FBS. But also, I want to say this because I just got the shower. I was listening. You made your point with your tweet. I'm going to echo your tweet with my tweet. The difference is my tweet applies to everyday life, not the transfer portal. I specifically said, in this world, you cannot rely on potential. You can only rely on production. That applies to every facet of your life. Point blank, period. You can't miss what you don't have.
Or what you ain't seen.
You cannot bank on production. You can bank on, you can't bank on potential. You can only bank on production. Look, we can have 5 Travis Hunter come sign Jack State next month. Next week. We can have 5 Travis Hunters come sign. If they never hit the field and leave, you can't sit here and say it's a travesty because if they didn't produce, you ain't missed nothing. You cannot bank on potential. But guess what? It hits different when it's the highly ranked player. He comes and dominates, and then he leaves. Because now you've seen at your program what it can do.
Yeah.
Because watch this. Hey, Ken, who's the all-time leading passer in Texas high school football history?
Vince Young.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, who the hell is it? In Texas? Hell, I don't know.
Yes, you do. He right there at Alabama State.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, he talking about number four. D Davis. D Davis.
Alabama State. Oh, D Davis. I didn't know that. Shit, you got me.
I
know he went to Lakeshore, which is a
big time high school too.
So watch this. All-time great potential, right? What do you do at Alabama State? Hold on. Watch this. So now he leaves and goes to the portal. You think anybody with Alabama State gonna be in an uproar?
Man, D Davis should go JUCO.
I don't think he got enough time left to go JUCO.
I don't know.
Man, hold on. I try to do these emojis for y'all.
Hey, but like another thing, like so, even my alma mater, right? We had 4 starters. We had 4 starters into the portal before the bowl game. So we had a quarterback that's thrown for, I think, almost 8,000 yards in his career.
My bad.
Yeah, big time school. Yeah, 8,000 yards in his career and hit the portal. starting running back, starting wide receiver. Again, FBS level, but it's G5 level. So that's just another thing that you have to look at when you jump into the portal about, all right, who else is jumping in there? Because you're competing against everybody. Same thing I tell my high school kids. Look, you got to be, in order for yourself to get to the D1 level, you got to be the best kid on your team. You need to be one of the best kids in the state. No, you got to be the best in your team, the best in your conference, the best in your region, and one of the best in your state. And that's for you to have a chance. So now we talking about a transfer portal where now you got to double that. Now you got to be the best in your state. And now I'm in the portal. I need to be one of the best players in my conference. And I need to be one of the best players in my division of play in order to get considered. A lot of these people, a lot of these guys are jumping in the portal, leaving schools with a scholarship and going to another school to walk on. And if I'm that parent, I'm pissed off.
Well, I'm gonna add to that, y'all. A lot of us want to use the mindset of I'm betting on myself, right? That's not betting on yourself. Betting on yourself is getting to college, getting to school and actually get a degree. To get a scholarship so to actually play college football. But then to actually throw a scholarship away, to say I'm going to leave what I have to take an opportunity. Because here's the thing. I can see the understanding of saying I'm going to bet on myself to play somewhere else, or, hey, I'm here at the Division I level, but it'll be the mindset is no one believes I could probably go to a Power 5. I'm going to bet on myself to go play at this Power 5. The only thing with that is, no matter, even if you're at a Power 5 level, every year that you don't play, you create more resistance to yourself in regards to getting to the NFL.
Man.
Hey, I want to say something.
Yep.
I gotta say something. Zoe, and I'm gonna let TD get in there. I want TJ to jump in this thing too. That was actually one of the responses, TD. And you know what somebody told me? God is able. You know what I'm saying? It's for, and I wasn't even trying to go down that route. I said, hey, listen, my comments is considerate of the fact that God is able. And yes, listen to me, y'all. Yes, a player can leave the situation that isn't a good situation for them, go to a different program and thrive. There may be variables that are holding that player back. It could be system. It could be scheme. It could be just homesick, want to be. It could be a lot of things. If that's what it is, that's what it is. We don't really get close enough to every player to know what their story is unless we sit down with them and we talk to them, get to know them with them, and then they kind of say, hey, what it is. We're just talking in general. But I'm telling you, there are a lot of people. I mean, there are a lot of folks that use I'm just going to trust in God. And it's like, wow, you have something in your hand and you're saying, I'm going to give that back and I'm just going to go gamble. God also give you the ability to read the room. He give you a support system. Hopefully you're getting advised the right way. We're not talking about the young man that, who didn't have a problem with that statement? The players that dominated in the SWAC. I said if Keyshawn Johnson from Alabama State, the wide receiver, who's the best wide receiver in the conference, read this tweet, he would not have had a problem with it. You know why? Because he sat right there with an offer from Vanderbilt and the likes thereof of the programs. We're not talking about players that dominated. That was my point. And I wasn't highlighting and trying to poo-poo the players that didn't dominate. What we were saying is somebody got to love you enough, lil bro, to tell you the truth and say, don't screw this up and don't go chase a bag if you ain't produced at this level. If you want that bag, there's a way to get that bag based off of your situation. So you can't just look over. And there's a thing. That's why it says the thief of all comparison is the thief of all joy. You got kids that are watching other players and trying to compare their story and their situation with this young man. You may not have the same situation, the talent, the same whatever. So what you got to do is you got to be where your feet at, man. You got to dominate in the space that you in. And what we do as big brothers and mentors in this space if I sit down and talk to a young man, it's our responsibility to let them know how we see them and where they are based off the production. And it's like you're invisible in a conference that nobody respects except us. So let me give you some free game and say, bro, you are right there. You're right there to get your degree and you are getting minutes. So what you should do is you should get with your coaches, find out what you need to do to get more time and just work on your craft. You got 2 years. Next year 3, you need to come out guns blazing. Every time we sit down with a recruit that sit down and tell us, hey, I got 1 year eligibility. You know what we say? This your bag year. This the year that got to count. You're all in. Every time we sit down with a recruit on Tiger Talk and they say, I got 1 year eligibility, I know that young man is taking everything serious. You know why? Because that young man already got a degree. And if he's trying to get to the next level, he knowing I got to pick a spot where I know I can play and I could dominate and I could be seen. So that's all we're saying today. It ain't for everybody to get in their darn feelings and start projecting and internalizing the words and trying to attach it to somebody and say, I'm saying this about that person or I'm saying this about that person. No, I have a good enough relationship. Hell, if I wanted to talk to them, I could just text them or hit them up or inbox them and say, hey, let me rap with you. I don't shoot subliminals to student athletes, and I'm not going to ever, ever, ever publicly bash or privately bash a player. I just keep it real. We don't tear down players, bro. We don't do that. We're not ever doing that. And the day that you start, the day that Twitter and the internet want to start saying that the truth is tearing a kid down is the day that I don't want to do it no more. I'm going to tell the truth. I mean that. I'm not finna lie to you, and I'm not going to lie for you. I'm going to tell you what's real. And if you don't like it, hey, man, I don't know what else to tell you. But later on, you're going to realize it was all done in love.
I think a lot of it is just I think a lot of it is, especially like the backlash that you received on Twitter, like I think a lot of it is just a lot of people just don't understand this whole process of, you know, Division I football, you know, like before Prime came around, you know, people weren't paying as close attention to what's going on. You know, he shined that light, and now people are paying attention, and people are seeing the ugly side of football. It's again, it's a nasty, it's a $1 billion business, man, and business is cutthroat. And when you walk into a business, if any type of business you walk into, it's going to be a lot of truth telling. That's the only way that a business can run. You have to air out the grievances and whatever the case may be. So I think people are just shocked to actually be seeing it and hearing it from somebody that, you know, has been around the program and has that access to where you're now telling the masses like, yo, this is what's going on. And I'm telling these kids because I know the business behind it and what these coaches are trying to accomplish. Again, these coaches are trying to feed their families. That's what they in it for. If you don't produce, that coach is not going to eat. So every single day, the coach's job is to find a better you.
You know what, TD, I'm gonna let you jump in. I want to say one thing. You know what Twitter, the internet, and the naysayers and the folk that don't like what was said don't know? You don't know how many players that can't play the game no more that I talked to that said, big bro, I wish I would have. That said, big bro, man, if I had only. Damn, cognitive dissonance. You don't know that. So I'm going to just leave that alone. TD, you got anything? Then TJ, I'll let you jump in there next.
Yeah, man. I don't have much, man. Just listening to you and your tweeting what you say, it sounds like you were trying to help, you know, but people are always going to take stuff to make it fit their narrative, especially if it don't work for them. I don't see anything that you said wrong. And the problem is, a lot of people can't handle the truth. A lot of us can't handle the truth. And we want to be fed a bunch of lies, pretty much. It's just like the baseball team giving everybody a trophy at the end of the season, saying that you did good.
Participation trophies, no.
Right, participation trophy. I mean, that's not what it is. And you know, what people failing to understand and what you was trying to say, hey, you can make it on this level. You're gonna be dominant on this level and get seen from this level. And if it meant for you to go elsewhere, then you will go. You use Keyshawn Johnson for an example. And and there was been others. So nothing that you said, was wrong. I mean, you don't have to go all out to defend yourself. Be anything. If anybody real, just like I always say, they have the right guidance and parents in their life, a role model in their life, they would tell them the truth. So, brother, what you doing is a testament on what you should be doing. So stand by what you did, man. I mean, you ain't saying anything wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't defending myself too tough. I just saw other people defending me, and I was trying to figure out what was happening. Now, my response to the hater, I said, I don't give a flying damn flip what you think of me. What you can do for me is block me, so you ain't got to see it no more. TJ, what's up, bro?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight, man?
What's up, TJ?
Good. Man, I just really appreciate, the dialogue that y'all having concerning this whole transfer portal thing. It's a real thing. I'm blessed enough to work at a G5 institution. I'm a high school football coach, so I get to see both sides of it. But in terms of like me working at the G5 institution, I work, with athletes just from an academic standpoint. And just to, some of the conversations that I've had with these young men, I've had a few guys that I work with that, no longer affiliated with the team because they jumped in the portal, just all because of, some things that they may think are going to happen or, they're really chasing the bag, and I had one young man, he was going to graduate next semester. And, it's as a black man, it's disappointing because, what awaits these young men if football doesn't work out. And so, for someone to have an opportunity, and like I tell them, the coaches are getting something out of it because you're a player, you're making them money, you're winning them games. And so if you have an opportunity to have a scholarship and all your expenses paid for college, like take advantage of it, because football is a very small, window of your life. And, these young men can go out here tomorrow, if they're preparing for a bowl game or whatever, have an injury and their football careers could potentially be over. And I think what happens is a lot of these guys, they don't really have, and I'm not saying all of them, but there's a large majority of these young men that come from households where education wasn't, a high priority, or they were always looked at as an athlete or, looked at as from their physical abilities, And so, a lot of them refer to me as because I'm a straight shooter. It's like I'm not here to pacify you. I'm here to pour into you and try to get you to understand that more exists outside of football. Like football can be great. It's all what you make it. Anything that you delve into can be great, but it's up to you. Whether you put the work in and to make it that. And so, like to see some of these things going on with the transfer portal, you see guys, talking about, to your point, Ken, taking a risk and doing these kind of things, but then they go to these places to where, they never see the field. And then I've had, guys, I've even wanted to know, well, okay, why did you choose to come here? And they talk about, well, I want to be developed, but you're not getting playing time. You just basically a practice dummy, so it's like, how much development are you really receiving? I mean, you can't even go to the out of town games because you're not a part of the travel squad, so those kind of things. And I think a lot of these young men, they want to feel as though they belong to something. And it's like, society has made it that if you are not a part of a certain sector of, sports or whatever, then you're not seen or it doesn't count. And to the point, even with the transfer portal, I think what it does in some regard, it's like it's working against us as HBCUs because it tries to water down who we are and what we do, because it says to guys that, hey, if I can go out here and jump in this portal, then I'm gonna automatically get seen. When if you go to a lot of these games, even at the G5 level, the crowds are not as big as what we have in Jackson. Some of the facilities are not as nice. And so, I mean, I think this platform, along with, some of the other spaces that exist, is really needed because this whole transfer portal thing is really kind of taken away from the goodness that exists within college football, because it makes guys feel as though they're entitled to something when they really haven't even worked for
it. Hey, TJ, I want to add on. I want to kind of add on to what you were saying, and I would start by saying, with these kids being young and like you said, education wasn't a priority in some cases, definitely not all cases. And with that being said, you got your homeboy, you got your friend, you're in a small town, you in the area, and like we said on the last screen, you the big fish in the little pond. And then once you get past being a big fish in the little pond, and all your homeboys hyping you up, and all your family members hyping you up, and saying that you're not being treated right, done right, because we know what you can do, we've seen what you can do on this level, then naive kick in. And the simple fact of it is, high school is completely different from college on any level, because now it becomes a complete business. It's optional when you're on that high school level, but then when you come to the college level, it pretty much becomes a job, and you have a set schedule to do everything. The game is fast. You got people from all over the world, all over the country who's playing ball, playing those same position. They're much faster. You got a offensive lineman or defensive lineman, who's running, clock speed, and wide receivers that running past you a DB, or vice versa. So the game is different once you get on that level, but you still thinking you the man. Then you have those other people in your head, boosting you up that you are the man and what you should be doing, and not being treated fair, and that you should be getting more time than what you are. When that coach really see that you have the potential, you just need to be developed, and that development takes time.
Hey Ken, I seen you put up the comment from Nugget about JUCO.
Yep,
but
let me go back to it.
So I think now JUCO is getting squeezed up out of the equation, unfortunately, because what we're seeing that's going on is high school kids are taking the FCS, the Group of 5 offers, and they're using that almost as a JUCO years. So what's happening is we're seeing the best talent from the FCS Group of 5 levels. We're seeing that best talent get elevated, and then the worst of the talent at the P5 level is coming down. Again, back to what I said earlier, called the bounce backs. So FCS, G5, they're receiving all the Power 5 bounce backs, but losing their best players. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
that's about to be null and void now. That's why I even made the point today about the ruling with the creation of the new now Power 4, because now we talk about a financial windfall for every institution and every player for every sport. Now, I mean, it's literally going to cut everybody's legs from up under you. Because again, even if I can't make it this first year, because no matter where you go, everywhere you go now, it's a 1-year rental. Because I even mentioned now, if you guys think about it, going forward, the thought of actually signing a high school kid as a freshman and him staying at your school for 4 years, or possibly a 5th year in red shirt, that's going to be the new 1%. When you talk about athletes, right? So now when you juxtapose going to an FCS program on a 1-year rental, knowing that I'm going to put on as an audition so I can get paid in college. Because the thing is, ultimately, I want to get to the NFL, but the main thing short term is to get paid while I'm in college. And I could guarantee that by what? Going to this FCS program, putting on in this first year so I can get re-recruited, go to an FBS program and get paid. That's going to be the whole new setup for now. So basically, and Ken and I had this conversation earlier in the summer, whether people want to realize it or not, because we actually did a show on this literally almost a year and a half ago. And we saw this coming. We were ahead of the curve. And that's why I said HBCUs at that time need to create an FBS conference. Now you see why. So now going forward, what's going to happen is all FCS programs will become glorified JUCOs. It is what it is. That's what we're headed.
4-year JUCOs. That's what they're gonna become. 4-year JUCOs, an extension of it.
Every
and you know what?
You
know what though? The coaches and the systems and the schools that embrace it the soonest will be the most successful with it. Ain't no need of being it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. The best thing you can do is make the best out of it. Sell your culture, put things in place to make sure you can take care of your student athletes, try to get sponsorships. I mean, this is the best time to try to get money the best you can. I would love to see the best of our conference come together and form some super conference and and just focus on the HBCU culture and brand and try to lure in kids to want to be a part of that. But you're gonna have to market that though. But even if you can't, the schools that market their product, I'm excited because shout out to brother Jerome, reached out to me today. Londa Thompson from Jackson State. She's they looking at having a sit down with some I guess social media and branding alums and personalities to try to have some real dialogue about Jackson State getting better at branding itself from a social media standpoint. That's exciting to me because it's like we ain't waiting. At least we trying to do something that's going to address our public image from a social media standpoint and how we're taking advantage of social media marketing. You're not going to get. This is the other thing. It ain't like they changing the rules where they're gonna have 80, they're gonna have 95 scholarships now. You're still gonna have the same number of student athletes that they can only sign. So everybody can't go P5, everybody can't go P4, whatever it is. There will be still a ton of athletes, and that's why I think it's gonna be a lot of talent that's available for a lot of teams on our level to get good or to fill in some spots in a very good way. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that talent pool is going to shrink. That talent, the talent pool, not the talent pool, but I'm saying what it's going to take to get to that P4 level is going to be, it's going to be crazy. Like you're only going to see like the best of the best reaching that level because, like Zoe's saying, we're talking about paying every single one of those payers. So now, if I'm paying you, you are now an employee, and I only want the best of the best. What I question though is how practical is that move going to actually be to do for every single sport, right? Because now we're talking about these big time programs with these big time boosters. So you have the Title IX, you got the Title IX and stuff.
Let me stop you. You're thinking small. It's no longer boosters, bro.
It's just straight from the school.
No, it's corporations.
Corporations partnering with them. And then here's the other thing. That money is not going directly into their hand. It's being paid.
To a trust, yeah.
But which is cool because here's the other thing. If you leave in 2 years, you're not going to get you're not going to get 100% of what you could have got. It's more like, how companies are vested. You know how you get those, they give you that profit share or whatever that you got to be vested. They tell you however many years. I don't know. Maybe some literature that said, but this is what I will say as a girl dad. That's exciting for young ladies. If you got a volleyball player going P5 and they got a potential to leave a school with a degree and $120K, if that's the payout, $30,000 per year, you're talking about a 120 in a trust, and now you got some type of form of you got a head start on your financial freedom as you get ready to go in a different direction.
Question for both of you guys, especially Ken and Zoe, because do you think 30K is lowballing?
No. I think 30K. No, it's not, because if you're talking about every single athlete, Title IX, you're talking about non-revenue generating sports. It's not going to be. It's pennies on the dollar for a football player, but when you're talking about 85 scholarship kids, then you're talking about everybody on the baseball team, everybody on the basketball team, men's and women's, every sport. Now 30, that adds up a lot. It adds up real fast. So
here's the thing, though. You say 30,000, but I'll retort and respond to you with this way: 30,000 is just one thing that they get. It's still a free enterprise. That same athlete can still do it, extend his
name, image, and likeness,
and say with his NIL and say, you know what, I'm not going to. Here's the thing: I'm not going to go into the multi-million-dollar thing, right? I'm just going to use one athlete, and let's say, they're getting 30,000 from their school, right? Now, mind you, you're already on scholarship. You got free room and board. You're getting 3 meals a day. You don't have a job. You got 30K coming in, but then you still can use your marketability through social media, other norms. What if you can get, let's just say, an extra $5,000 a month on your own, right? So now you're going to graduate from school debt-free with money in the bank. As you graduate, well, let's say you go to grad school, because that's if you were redshirt, that's the play, because now you can get your master's debt-free. You're already graduating school with 2 degrees in the 1 percentile. And so now you have a nest egg if you don't make it to the NFL, or if you don't make it to a professional league.
Or even much so, I'll say this. There are some players. Go ahead, TD. Go ahead.
Yeah, but how much is that going to take off the focus of the athlete really doing what they need to do in their main goal?
Be a factor.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this, TD. You're gonna have some cases where it's gonna take off, and you're gonna have something that's gonna thrive. Guess what? It's been that way since the beginning of the time. People, they ain't just start getting paid, dog. It's just that everybody is. So guess what? You're gonna have some success stories, and you know you're gonna have some failures. There are gonna be some people who's going to mismanage money, people who are going to be some failures with it, and there are going to be some successes. It is what it is. But guess what? Such is life.
What about the kids that because I think what else is going to happen is with those kids essentially becoming employees, the kids that have like those big injuries right early on, what happens to those kids? You know, it's again, it's going to be a cutthroat business. So if you can't produce,
without question, it's going to be
cutthroat.
Man, and look at Texas A&M. You got Evan Stewart, 5-star wide receiver.
What do you say, kid? What do you say?
They ain't even getting paid, TD. Said they ain't. He said I wasn't getting paid. Everybody thought Texas A&M paying all this big money. They get paid with they not even getting paid, bro. And that's signing contracts that ain't really worth a darn, all that type stuff. But I'll say this though, I saw a young man that came that actually did this. Now he didn't get paid. This is before all of this happened. But like when you got a student athlete that go JUCO, good enough to get a scholarship to play, let's say at Jackson State. He actually graduated from Jackson State, went to another SWAC school, used his his athletic ability to get on the team, and then he graduated with a master's degree. Not going to the league, but what my point in even saying that was this: there are a ton of college players that are going to use that 5th-year eligibility or whatever the case may be. They're going to be rich, and they're not going to even aspire to go to the NFL, TD. They're going to walk away with 2 degrees and $1 million, and they're going to enter in the real world, and they don't have to continue to beat their bodies up. College athletics is going to allow some kids to get rich, man. Some, not all of them, but some will be able to walk away debt-free, 2 degrees, sitting on millions of dollars, and potentially trust money. And that's crazy.
Well, like I was stating, I used an example of I guess Master P for an example. I can't go into the whole story of how he went through with different labels, telling them that he didn't want to sign with them. He wanted to be an independent label. He did that until eventually, he owned his own stuff. I guess the big picture I'm saying for those rappers or individuals or entrepreneurs who passed up, me selling you Facebook, because I see the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm saying that to the quote that Aubrey always said, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The bandos make you hungry, keep you hungry. And if you start giving some people or some kids amount of money and they, you know what I'm saying, and it depends on where you come from too. You get somebody $20,000, boy, and they think they're ready to, you know what I'm saying, to control them, you know what I'm saying, the money market. And so it makes them less hungry and make their focus not be what they need to be in the classroom. And therefore going forward, now they lose their scholarship, they don't have a degree, and now they back to square one. So it all goes right back to what I would forever say the foundation that would be the parents, the guardians, the leadership, the community, and people like you, people like me, people like Zoe, people like on this panel to tell these kids the truth, and make them see the big picture rather than the small picture. Why go for 100,000 when you can get, millions?
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree to you, but the thing is that when it comes to the financial piece, it's nothing new. It was already there. Like, let me give you an example.
It's acceptable now. The difference is acceptable now. That's the difference. It was one thing when it was under the table.
No, I'm not gonna say it was acceptable. I won't use that term. What I would say is it's just above table. It was not that it's acceptable. It's been going on. Let me give you an example.
It's different now though. Because
a really, really good friend of mine, played, I'm not gonna say the school, but had a job in Jackson, Mississippi. Name of the company, Capital City Heating Cooling. I'm gonna tell it. And owner was a really, really popular alum of a particular school. And this is back in 1996. And so he would work, he would go there and he would work. Well, he would be there for 6 hours. And all he did was screw and unscrew vents on air conditions. This is in 1996 and was getting 2 G's a week. 1996. Just to be there so I could pay you. I mean, and also got a vehicle too. So this is nothing new. The only difference is it's just out in the open.
Cam Newton.
Let me tell you what is new though.
Cam Newton, $180,000.
But let me tell you what's new. What's new is you gotta look at what Matt Rule said. Man, ain't no quarterbacks getting paid no $1 million. That wasn't they were getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, 50,000, 25, all that good stuff on the table. It's different now. When you see starting quarterbacks in the FBS level, they're using this. It's almost like a shuffle. Every year it's going to be, and it works out. I'm happy for it because now you see a kid like a Cam Ward. Didn't Cam Ward start?
Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word. So he started Incarnate Word till he had a good year under the coach that just beat us at Texas State. He goes over to Washington State.
Balls out.
Now he's in the portal. Then he get broke off. And they projected him to go to Ohio State. So my point is you got starters at the Power 5 level that's using it. They're going to reshuffle every season if they have to, or if somebody poaching them. Like Blue said the other day, happy birthday again, Blue. You got players that's being offered 100, 150, 200,000 just to hit the portal. You see what I'm saying? That's a gamble within itself because you got to guarantee me hell that you're going to sign with me once you do hit the portal because things can look a lot different. Now it becomes a bidding war. It's a different world we live in. Here's what I won't do. I won't try to imagine upon what it looks like from that perspective until I talk to an athlete and sit down with an athlete that's actually getting the bag. That really is taking advantage of this college system because I do hope when we're out in one of these places, I do hope to sit down with a student athlete of that magnitude that is getting the bag from an NIL standpoint and really get some real perspective on that because that's going to add a little bit more meat to this conversation.
I'll tell you a real story, and I put this on everything that is true. I got 2 kids that last year were getting recruited. They was giving them $10,000 to come on an official visit.
Damn.
to come visit the school, not commit, not nothing, to show up.
Man, it's some folks that's gonna be listening to this that gonna go start having them some kids now. They're gonna say, "Look, let me raise me up a couple of little ones that can get in this college." But nah, go ahead, bro.
Zoe, I got a question for you.
Damn.
How much money do you think Shador is worth if he leaves his daddy?
Hold on, say it again.
How much money do you think they would give Shador to leave his daddy?
I'm gonna be honest. I think Shador is an outlier. That's gonna be a tricky one to answer. I think I would probably say what he's getting now, but I think because of who he is and who his dad is, I think there will be a contingency of schools who may not want to go after him because of dealing with the father as well.
He ain't leaving his dad. I don't care how much they offer.
It's honestly a tricky proposition.
They're gonna throw the bag at him. Shador has the highest NIL value of any college football player in the world. It has a lot to do with that.
Any athlete.
Yep, he has the highest NIL valuation.
He probably the most visible too, outside of Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm like, good God.
I mean, you talking riding in a Maybach Mercedes. He got a Mercedes-Benz deal. You see him and Shiloh on the Google. They on Google ad. I mean, Google commercials. I said, these boys on Google commercials.
I mean, look, let's just think about it. I don't think people really understand what Shador was doing while he was at Jackson State. He had national ads while he was at Jackson State. Mm-hmm. He had Gatorade, and I'm missing one.
Beats, Gatorade, Mercedes-Benz.
The barbecue sauce.
No, I said national ads.
No, Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes. So it was Mercedes, Beats, and which was the other one?
Oh, that's the Rolls Royce. My bad. I done downgraded. My fault.
Shador has a color. That's what he got.
Boy getting that paper.
But he was doing that at Jackson State. He was visible at Jackson State. Now, granted, a lot of that was smack, but still getting the bag at Jackson State.
Yep, you got Tom Brady. That's right. But no, that's an outlier though. I mean, he's a little different, you know. But there are some players that Caleb Williams is a great one. Caleb Williams is going obviously going to the NFL. But you got some players in college right now that's gonna make more money in college than they're gonna ever make in the pros, man.
So Ken, what kind of guidance do you think Cam has?
Cam who?
Isn't that his name? The guy leaving Washington State?
So what I'll say is that because I would say your network dictates your net worth, right? He has the same quarterback coach as Shador with select quarterbacks. I forget the young man's name, but they work out together. Usually when you're around certain people, I mean, I would hope that the young man has a good support system. He got a good, if you're making that kind of money or you get in, you're gonna need a financial advisor. You're gonna need, and I can only pull to my cousin who went to the NFL, had a financial advisor, got drafted first round 2010 to the Arizona Cardinals. Signing bonus like $2.5 million, but he had a financial advisor. But that's different. That was NFL money. You talking about college money? You got to have an advisor.
No, I'm talking about with the decision, with the decision that he's making, the path that he's taking. You know what I'm saying?
What about it?
The direction that he's going. All that comes with guidance for him, for someone to sit back and say, "Hey, if we make this move right here, then we can do this." You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, he's an older guy.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, this is last year. I would like to think that this would be his last season available. Yeah, there you go. Here you go, Blue. He was smart. His story is extremely interesting. He deserves every bit of. Yep. He worked his way into it, man. I mean, I like that. That's a success story. You start on the FCS. See, that's what I'm talking about. The reason Cam Ward was able to go to Washington State is, guess what he did? He lit up the damn ranks at Carnegie Word. He balled out. So if you want to do it, if you ball out, you get a chance. I understand it. Because what I tell any kid, and look, we've had these conversations, TD. I'm not going to sit down this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to sit down and talk to a young man that got a potential to get $100,000. Played their ass off, and they can go get $100K or $150K, $200K. I'd be a damn fool to tell them not to take that bag. Because $100,000, $200,000 could change your life immediately. That's anybody on this panel. I don't care how much money you make. If I give you 100, I don't care how much money you got in the bank right now. If I give you 100,000 on top of what you got, that's gonna change the trajectory of a lot of conversations for a lot of people, man, immediately. So if you can play though, now I'm still going to advise you. We're still locked in forever. You're still my dog now. The number don't change unless you switch up on me. But this is what I'm thinking. My thing is like we get free game. We are already financially set when it comes to like our lives and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't leeching our kid. We trying to help them in whatever way we can. My thing is this right here. If you can get that bag, get your bag. You get what I'm saying? But make sure you get on the field and make sure you still can produce. Don't go take a bag and then become invisible because the money gonna stop.
So I think so what's the project? Shaw or anyone who can make that, what the kids know that they're guaranteed. How I know it's not divided up in increments. Like, okay, you know, we'll give you 100,000 with the first 25. We'll give you the first 25.
It is in increments. If you look at Jalen Rashada last year, that was one of the top quarterbacks in the nation. He's headed to Florida. And the reason that he decommitted from Florida was because there was discrepancy on how his payout was going to be. And he wound up at Arizona State. But his was like, you know, his freshman year, he would receive, you know, I think it was like $350,000. His sophomore year, he would receive another $450,000. And then, you know, junior, senior, and it would break down to equal up a total amount. So that's how it's being structured. They're not just giving these kids, you know, one big lump sum for the most part. Now, if you like a graduate transfer, you know, we're talking about something different. But as far as like, you know, the younger guys with multiple years of eligibility, that's how they break it down. Because again, like Zoe and like Ken have been saying, the probability of you starting with me and finishing with me is extremely low.
Right.
And you know what kind of money that these guys, these collectors and these schools are sitting on to throw a kid 10 G's just to visit. Now they wiping their rear end with money. they ain't worried about no money. I can promise you that. Now at the end of the day, that's why I say for us, a more see, you have to be great where you are. I don't get lost in paying attention to what's across the fence. As a Jackson State alum supporter, if we got a collective going, let's say we got some money, the best way for us to move is from a retention standpoint. Coaches go do what they do, get them in the building, they produce. Now you want to try to work to keep them. You ain't got no money to keep. We ain't buying players out the portal, bro. We ain't buying players out of high school, and we ain't competing with no big money, man. You have to be great, and you have to be effective. It's just like being a counterpuncher. You got a lot of counterpunchers that done won a lot of championship belts, and then went against these aggressive fighters with they was underdogs, and all they did was play defense, and they counterpunched. You better be a damn good counterpuncher and a damn good defender if that's what you got to do to be great within the space that you in. So I ain't telling you nothing that we ain't doing. You get what I'm saying? And we ain't trying to hold nobody back, because I'll be the first to tell somebody. I've advised a young man on what to do. Bro, you a few months away from your degree. Please get that degree, because I can promise you that degree is going to last you a far greater. And I can say that because what I've used and what I've been able to accomplish in my full-time real life with my degree. Get your degree, you still got eligibility. You play well, you can get out there now. Now you can go try to chase a bag, because either way you can fall back on your degree if it don't work out, and then you can go into the real world. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to enter the real world, man.
I think to your
go ahead.
What does that player shoot me an email, Jeremiah?
I think to your point, Ken, one thing that's important with a lot of these guys, like when they come into college, as freshmen, or, they're not really properly advised on, like, the college majors that they need to go into. Because what happens is you have guys that hit the portal, they want to go out here and they test the waters, but then when they go to the new school that they're, trying to pursue, like, and they do a transcript evaluation, and a lot of these classes that they may have taken don't even allow them to be eligible to play at the new destination. But what happens is, okay, now you forfeit the scholarship that you had that was guaranteed over here to go to some place that is going to provide a level of uncertainty for you. And so you don't know what you're going to get. So these guys that are, that are definitely being able to secure the bag at the higher end, like, that's different versus the guys that are just, taking a chance. Oh, I'm gonna jump in the portal because I had, 3 or 4 good games here. And then it's like, when you get over here, you're in a worse off situation than you were before.
Hey, that's a really good question. It says pretty soon these NIL. So you can word an NIL contract however you need to word it. So one of the things, so I'll give you some metrics that any contract that I'm going to put behind a brand that I have out there is going to be things that's going to protect the brand. I'm not going to pay you and you go out there and whoop your girlfriend, bro. You get what I'm saying? It's going to be crimes against women. It's going to be, if you quit the team, conduct detrimental. It's going to be those types of things, because the main thing, you have to be on the field. You got to produce. You got to perform. But when it comes to this is what I'll say about that. Frame of reference, precedent. We don't know what this is going to be. It's still fluid. It's a fluid thing. So what's going to happen is, most things don't get put in place until something bad happens. So something has to happen, and then now you have to put parameters in place, and then you can now have certain things in contracts, and then it might be followed up with some legislation. It might be followed up with some rules and regulations on the NCAA, whatever. You know what I mean? So he says exactly why Isaiah Land returned to FAMU. He wasn't going to be academically eligible at those SEC schools due to the progress to degree. That's a phenomenal, great point right there. Great point, TJ. Great point. So
again, one of the reasons I wanted to address this, because when you're dealing with kids and they looking at numbers, I mean, even with some adults, you get to throwing out 100,000, 200,000, 250. People look at the whole number and they thinking that, hey, someone's just writing them a check and that money in the bank, you kind of do what you want to do. But no, it's not like that. So the whole ramification of the thing need to be broken down so they can understand, hey, no one just giving you that type of money and saying, go ball out. In the mall, there's performance, there's grades, there's, like you said, violence, it's a whole lot. It may be something, hey, if you get hurt or you don't perform up to standard, then those things are poor. So now you just left out there in the wing. So it's more to it than just looking at numbers. We always look at numbers and think that's the end all be all when that's not the case.
TD, one thing to add with that, lawsuits. I'm talking about students suing collectives and students suing schools or whatever. It's always the other side of that when you start putting money involved in those type things. You never can tell. It's a lot that can change with this. You just have to, take it. It's everybody's situation is completely different. Everybody's situation. But this is a good segue. I want to stay on it, but I do want to add one thing in there. I want to throw this up real quick because this is what we talked about. I just want to highlight. Shout out to Jackson State University. We got an 89% graduation success rate that just came out. We got the highest GSR among all HBCUs in D1. We got 8 teams over 90%. We got 4 teams that achieved a perfect graduation success rate. So hand clap for Jackson State, man, who is continuously leading the way. This is a very proud moment for the university, man. And shout out to those student athletes, man, for getting the work done. And this is that thing that we ain't got to worry about. That old APR score. Yeah, that right there helps with that. For those that don't understand how that works, APR could really burn you if you're a program and you got a lot of kids that's entering the portal and then they don't graduate. You're going to pay for that on the back end. So congratulations to Jack State for leading all HBCUs on the D1 level with the highest graduation success rate, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. That means that the student athletes that have come to Jackson State have utilized this opportunity to get a degree. Get a degree. Get several of them. Get a couple of them if you can. Go ahead, bro.
And to add to that, Ken, these young men and women that's looking at these NIL deals and what's going on, with the Angel Reese of the world, stay in your lane. I mean, you have a destination designed for you, and and you have a goal focus for yourself. Shoot for that goal. You know what I'm saying? And let those other things, cards fall where they may, because you still can continue to go to LCS school and continue to play ball out and go, and get to the different bowls and then get drafted, get your free agent contract or play in some league. Don't get caught up in what Joe doing over here and the hype that he's getting. Because when you start doing that, you start losing some kind of confidence within yourself.
Yep.
And you want to use the term bet on yourself. This is where you bet on yourself.
Yep.
And you go out there and perform where you are and do what you need to do on the field that you're on, and let everything else, works for you. Don't be caught up in what no one else doing, because their destination, their journey, their life perspective isn't yours.
Yep. That's true. That's true. TJ, Shaw, you got anything else?
For me, man, I just, like I said, this is a really good conversation, and I think it's something that a lot of athletes, I mean, it'd be nice if they could tune in or even just go back and, rewatch this, live once it's over with, because it kind of puts, a lot of things in perspective. Because I have guys that I work with, it's a struggle to get them to come to study hall, they're sometimes late for meetings. And so, I'm telling them, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so
Right.
if you want to get to the next level, if you want to be this type of player that goes out and tries to secure NIL money, it's like these coaches, they look, isn't you got to know that they're talking, that they're communicating across different mediums to see what kind of player you are before you even come into those programs. And so I just try to encourage these guys, like, hey, look, if you're not getting your books, if you're not being where you're supposed to be, like, what makes you think that another program is going to want to bring you in and give you an opportunity to touch the field if you're not doing what you need to do at the current destination?
Facts.
Yeah, like piggyback off what you said, TJ. If you go out there, get a scholarship, and put your body on the line for 4 or 5 years, however long you playing, and you don't get at least a degree at the end of it, you wasted your time. I redshirted and was able to get a degree, get a master's for free. I don't owe $1 to those type of loans. So if you ain't at least getting that, you failing yourself. You missing the point, But I seen it. I got a lot of teammates that, went to school. They was there 4 years and didn't graduate, and And the school the school only cares about it at so much. The school's gonna push you to graduate because, like you guys just showed, that graduate success rate, that APR rate, but they ain't gonna hold your hand to get it at the same time. So
That's right.
And a lot of these coaches, like, they'll push you so far from an educational standpoint because they want you to be eligible to play, and because that's benefiting them. They want to be, because those contracts. We all know that their work. You win so many games, it's incentives for that. You win the conference, it's incentives. You achieve certain milestones. Some of these coaches, even if you graduate a certain percentage of your players, you get increases and things like that. And so that's what I try to get these guys to understand. It's like, hey, like, football is a fun game. It can be fun, but it's a business. And when you get to the collegiate level, like, you got to be able to think, and have the same type of mindset that these coaches do, because it's almost like a mule or a horse. Like, if you have them to plow a field or to herd cattle, if they break their leg, then they put them over there and they pasture and let them graze because they're no longer useful to them. And so, like, I tell my guys, like, hey, if you go down with an injury, this coach, he already got a Rolodex of guys that he's waiting for you to mess up so that he can call and have to come in and replace you. And so it's like, to your point, Shaw, you got to be able to get something out of the deal, because at the end of the day, these coaches, these ADs, they're getting something. And you hate to look at it like that, but that's just the truth of the matter. Like, they're getting something out of it too. And so if you don't walk away with a degree, then you basically, to your point, you wasted your time.
1,000%. It's too many. It's too many, especially of our people. I'm talking about like a broader scale. There's too many of us that go into, too many of us athletes that get scholarships, and the only thing we focused on is the sports. But again, it's a full-time job. It's tough, I understand it, but it's got to be it's got to be one of your priorities. Our schedules are set up a little different than that of a regular student. Depending on your practice time, that's how your class time is laid out. So you might have to cram your whole school day between the hours of 7 a.m. and 1:30. And that's just what it is. Then you got to go to practice. After practice, you got to go get something to eat, and then you need to get back to the facility to do your study hall and all that stuff. So it is a grind. But again, these schools is going to use you, so you got to use the school at the same time.
And everything you say is, Shaw, it takes discipline. If you're not disciplined within yourself, to go ahead and take care of your schoolwork and not just hang out, that's going to be on you. I mean, you'll have many opportunities to goof off and hang out and stuff like that. And like you said, Shaw, it's a schedule. It's written down for you how you study hall, the time to eat, the time to play, and then you're gonna need some rest as well. So, you definitely got to make time for your schoolwork and have your priorities together when you're doing that.
And like I said, you ain't got to be I ain't saying you got to have, great grades. Like, I didn't have the best of grades, but I did enough to graduate, and that's all that really mattered. You know what I'm saying? That degree, you got to use them resources. You got to use study hall. You got to use them tutors that school is paying all that money to. Use it up.
To your point,
talk to your advisors. What's the easiest path for me to graduate with our degree? But at the same time, make sure that these schools ain't just putting you in whatever the hell they want to put you in. A lot of guys that I went to school with, their degree is in recreational management. Well, what is that?
Yeah, so you preach to the choir, man. I got guys that's majoring in African American studies, and it's like like, I'm all for trying to learn about our heritage and history and things like that. But it's like, how marketable is that degree? And it's like, it's disappointing, because it's kind of like, in some of these spaces, some of the councils, not all of them, but they kind of, it's almost like it's a factor between, like, the councils and the coaches. Like, hey, put guys here so we can get them eligible. But when you really have a heart and passion for what you do, you want guys to be successful, on the field and in the classroom. And so for me, it's, I've had conversations, because I have had guys to come in this week, finals coming up, and their grades are not where they need to be because they want to be eligible to participate, in spring ball, things like that. And so it's like, you can't get so caught up in the football piece that you miss out on. You know, for me, it's like you can't have the athlete without the student, because when, you know, in school you're referred to as a student athlete. So how can you be an athlete if you haven't been doing what you need to do in the classroom from the student, you know, standpoint? And I tell my guys, just as what you said, Shaw, like, it's not about being a straight A student. It's just about being committed and, you know, just getting in there and doing what you need to do.
They used to call us athletic students.
That's exactly what they called us. My coach told me straight up, son, you ain't here to do. I was a smart kid anyway, but he was like, I didn't bring you here to go to school. I brought you here to play ball. It's ball then in school, that straight up. And he ain't make no qualms about it. He was like, that's what it is, and you had to get it. It was what it was. Miss Rochelle, how you doing, sis?
Hey everybody, how are you doing, TD? How you doing, Ken?
How you doing, Rochelle?
Hello,
Congrats on passing your test.
Shaw. Yeah, I passed my test.
Yeah, you see what we talking about? We talking about, you know, the test of life. But congrats on that, though.
Congratulations.
Proud of you, for real.
Thank you. And
when you get all that money, man, I'm gonna holler at you for a loan.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, it's been interesting. I went to Atlanta for Thanksgiving, and let me tell y'all something. I ain't been around little kids. Little kids' colds would knock a grown person down.
That's just what's out here nowadays. That's that 220. That's that 2023. Because you know the flu got COVID too.
Well,
all the colds got a little COVID. Yeah, man.
I took my my flu shot, but them little kids' colds is different. I mean, I ain't been around little one. Knocked me out. I mean, it would totally knock me out. So I'm glad to be back. I missed y'all. I've been this Sunday, I will not be on because this Sunday is my birthday. I'll be 58.
Wow. Okay. What you doing for your birthday? What you doing for your birthday?
I'm actually having a birthday party. We're gonna go have a cowgirl and cowboy theme. I already got my outfit.
TD, this why I'm about to bump her off the screen. You got a whole birthday party you done got coming down the pipe. You ain't told us nothing. No invitations, no nothing.
I give it. I just thought of this on Sunday. I was like, why not have a birthday party for your 58th birthday? So we're gonna have a birthday party, and then I'll be on because I usually do second and fourth Sunday, but fourth Sunday is actually Christmas Eve. So we're just gonna do it one time this month. That's gonna be third Sunday. We put out some information. And the theme would be for this month is the power of a touch. Okay. I don't think we understand the power of a hug. And what does a hug actually do to your body and your mind? And why it's so important. So we got a person that's coming on, but we're going to even talk about how hugs can actually heal your heart. So I'm excited about it.
You got to make sure you qualify that because you know it's some creepy dude that like the hood.
I know. I'm talking about. I'm just.
You know, I'm always find a way to joke with it. But somebody said they got a birthday coming. My birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Rochelle. Happy birthday. Okay.
Yeah, we got some birthdays. Good.
I want to say because I didn't say it when Ken said it. You know, again, happy birthday to Blue. You know what I'm saying? Wish you many more, partner. You do a great job, and appreciate all the wisdom and knowledge that you provide us in the chat and stuff, man. You got it together, so appreciate. Happy birthday, Blue. And Rochelle, just for a spell, you say you passed your test. You can't elaborate on that. What's the test about? What does it allow you?
Hey, wait a minute, TD. I ain't seen Randy in a month of Sundays. As soon as you pop up on here, Randy pop up in the chat.
Don't you stop, Ken. I'm gonna pop in your throat when I see you. Oh my God.
Go ahead and answer TD question. I saw Randy and I'm like, that was real suspicious. But anyway, go ahead.
You know what? I'm so glad Zoe not on right now. I would have heard the last of his mouth. But what I had to do, it's a law and ethics exam. So all therapists have to take this test. And I really was confused on a lot of stuff with y'all. I actually, you have to, it's a pretty intense test. It's 75 questions and you have 90 minutes. And when I tell you, TD, you would think the way you have to apply for this thing, when you go in, they like your palm print is your blueprint. So you put your hand in this machine I've never seen before, but you take your glasses off and you put it on this plate because apparently Ray-Ban makes some plates that's Bluetooth, some glasses that's Bluetooth, and literally while you're looking at the screen, you can be showing that questions to somebody on the other side and they can type in. It's crazy how they make you do it. But the test was challenging, but I felt good about it. I prayed because my biggest thing was, and I think I shared it with Ken, well, I kind of put it with y'all in the chat, was how you can talk yourself out of, because I had a fear of taking tests. Because I'm an audible learner and I need to kind of whisper out loud the words, and I could not do any talking at all. And that made me nervous because I need to silently read out loud a little bit because I need to hear what I say versus just reading silently. So I prayed about it, and it's asking you questions on how you would handle certain stuff. And some of that stuff is crazy. Like some of the questions you have to figure out. And so I passed it. I prayed about it. God took away my fear, and I did great. I felt so good. I said, I know I passed this test. Like I passed this test. And a lot of people flunk that test on the first go round. They have to wait 90 days to take it again. But I studied in 2 days, and I just thank God for me passing the test, because it was a lot. It was me really being in my head. So it's things that, like, for instance, I never tripped on, that the questions about, if you had this situation, how would you handle it? And some of the situations I had no idea because it never crossed my mind. But after doing the necessary studying, it was actually kind of easy. So I thank God for that part. That's the first part. And then when I get my hours, I would actually take the test to be licensed. Right now, I'm considered an associate. So that means I'm under someone else's license. And that she guides me and she supervises me until I get these hours that I need in order to take the test.
So I guess what I'm asking and what you're telling me, you're an associate therapist right now. Once you take your other test, then you can have your own practice.
Correct.
Okay.
And the person I work, the company I work for now, even though they are nonprofit, but they have a private practice model, which I think is really cool. So they literally prepare you. So when you do become that, you know all the ups and downs. So I got my own space. They don't, because they're in Oakland, I'm in Fairfield, which is like a 50-mile difference. But I found my own spot. They and it's my name on. They're just an amazing company to work for. And so yeah, I'm an associate. It takes about 2.5 years to get all the hours because California kind of crazy. But I'm enjoying the process of what I'm learning. And I'm kind of glad I have someone, because I actually had someone that sent a crazy email to me and I wasn't sure how to handle it. So to be able to have someone to guide you through some stuff you've never experienced before is really good.
Good stuff, man. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. We know you're going to do what you got to do, and keep going. I know we talked about that test quite a bit, but it's all good.
It was asking questions that was insane. And that was like, but these were real situations. And I never tripped on it. It'll make your head explode. But it was good. I learned a lot in taking the test. So I think God is just preparing me for something bigger. And so I'm gonna celebrate with my birthday. I need this break. I really do. So I'm excited about it.
Good deal. Well, I'm glad to see you up. It's been a minute, but we knew why. And no, we were just talking. We wanted to do just a brief show on some real dialogue. You see all the offers going out right now. I saw you kind of jumping in them Twitter spaces too. Hey, Rochelle be out there in them Twitter streets too, TD, with them offers, man. The coaches put out a lot of football offers. But that's what we can see on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's a lot of young men that have entered the portal that have, received offers. We got a whole group. We got about 10 coming in this weekend recruiting. TD, we actually got interviews Friday night and Sunday evening.
Wow.
Man, so, yeah, that was something that just came about today. Just kind of, it's a lot going on. Got the whole schedule and itinerary I shared with you. I know you got some big things popping on Friday. I'm excited, man, because we got some people that's really rocking with what we're doing locally. That's wanting to partner with us, and got some sponsorship opportunities, some foundation.
Guess what I just found out?
What you find out?
For our nonprofit, because I got my approval. I know you're gonna get it sooner or later that we can do on Facebook. But Facebook now lets PayPal do everything, right? So that's why I was kind of late. I was doing the paperwork. I mean, I was doing the work online. So now I have a PayPal. PayPal is amazing, but PayPal has taken over Facebook's platform for nonprofits. So I registered, they approved me. So now PayPal has a platform that you can do a fundraiser. Watch this. But apparently GoFundMe is also over, that's a PayPal thing. And Venmo is a PayPal thing. So I just got me. So once you get approved for PayPal, it was like, hey, update you a Venmo. So now people can literally pay my nonprofit through Venmo, and they go get the text set up with Venmo, and I got PayPal, and then I just set up a GoFundMe account. All this because PayPal takes over all of that.
I ain't know we ain't on Facebook. We'll get there one day.
Okay, but when you do, definitely. But you can still do the PayPal thing because PayPal does a lot of work for with nonprofits, and their fees are cheaper.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Good deal.
And I was looking at, I think when what you guys were talking about, I was listening to you, was very powerful. And I think someone showed how many kids are in the portal, and that's just scary.
I think we had over 3,000 to jump in.
Yes.
It's gonna be quite a bit that's probably gonna get left behind, but hey, it's all a part of it. It's all a part of it. Like I said, I tell everybody in this era, we love the kids that decide to become Jackson State Tigers. We're gonna love on them. But what my advice to the fans is love the jersey, the name on the front of the jersey.
And not the kid.
More. I mean, and that may sound bad, but it's not meant to be derogatory. Here's my point. My point is that you won't be down in the dumps when you grow to love a player and you find out that player decides that he's gonna find himself a new home.
Yep.
Take it personal. It's just part of it. But we do everything we can to try to keep them here, keep them with us. We understand what we up against. And but the coaches are doing good. They're doing a good job of this is how you have a test. And TD, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. I know Coach TC is establishing the foundation for a program. I think a good barometer to determine whether you got a healthy program is that young talent and your ability to retain it. And what we haven't seen is a lot of retention in that young core that came in that didn't even play. What I'm seeing is a lot of the young men. I know Bruce Batman Mitchell put out a tweet saying, hey, he's just waiting on his time. But we talked to Zeke. Zeke was waiting on his time. We mentioned Tyreek Sharp in the last segment. He's waiting his time. I love that, man, because and then we talked to Quay Davis today, who actually was one of the freshmen that actually played, along with Isaiah Spencer as well as Ahmad Miller. And, the few that did actually play, they have, the perspective is they believe in the program that they're a part of. And that is encouraging, bro. That's encouraging. You know what I'm saying? So your thoughts on just that aspect of it?
That to me, that is pretty phenomenal, Ken. I mean, because I was really I try to put a whole lot of weight on anything, but I was curious to see, how well the portals light up from our side of the ball, and then that what has happened or transpired so far. I'm pretty at all. I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty happy, and I think that the coaches are doing a great job in the retaining of the players, and the players see the future and what it can be and what it's projected to be. And so now that you have everyone buying in, now it's time, everybody see the structure. And I think one of the structure came and a lot of people hanging their hats on, Ken, is unlike last year. Well, last year we came in with a lot of unknowns, but unlike last year, this time we're coming in with a known signal caller. Yep. And, and I think especially on the offensive side, a lot of those young players, that including the running back room. So with them seeing and seeing the potential and the things that was done coming from a gutted schedule, a gutted roster, coaching staff and everything done on the fly, and to have the success that was had. I think they recognize that. They see the love that the fans give. They see the love that we give, that we offer, the things that we try and do. Although, it's a little like, sometimes we try to fill in the gaps for things that are needed. So people appreciate that, man. And one thing I always say, sometimes your effort, the effort that you show, the appreciation, that you give, that you show, goes way more than what you're able to give. One thing I like to live by, Ken. I live by, and I teach my kid. I said, love is shown. I said, somebody can tell you anything, how many times they love you, but until those actions are put into motion, then those are just words. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, I think it's awesome. I think that apparently Coach Taylor and Coach Otis, they'll and the rest of the team have a vision. The kids see the vision. They bought into the vision. Now they're trying to write the vision and make it plain.
Come on, do the scripture. Why don't you do the first? Come on, Habakkuk 2 and 2.
That boy quoting Habakkuk.
Come on, 2 and 2.
Vision, make it plain. Yeah.
So now I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to see what happens and what goes from here, man. And congratulations to those players. It goes, that goes into a lot of conversation we were having today, because we have some sure enough talent on that team, man. Especially, I don't want to get to call in, position, but we have some special players on their teams, especially on offense, that could possibly have potential to do other things. But the fact that they see the vision and they're sticking with it, my hat's off to them, which I don't have on. Kudos to them. And hey, that's right wave. And one thing about it, at the end of the day, the end of the year, if you do what you're supposed to do on the field, as your tweet was indicating, Ken, if you do what you're supposed to do on the field, you make a name for yourself in your conference, at your school, they will come knocking.
Hey, listen, man, I'll say this and to take it a little step further with the testament. Don't be shocked if some players that you might have seen hit the portal return back to Jackson State.
So you can do that? You can do that, man?
If the coaches want you back and they allow you to return, you can. Now, here, let me say this about the portal. Not just because a kid enters the portal doesn't mean that the coaches are going to stop recruiting them to return.
Okay.
The coaches still have to re-recruit their roster. But don't be shocked if we get a player or two that might have jumped out there, decided that, you know what, they might have some conversations, might have an opportunity to return. We'll see that. I know.
So if you were the coach, would there be, I know, depending on the situation, I would like to put that out there. Would there be any consequences to hitting the portal?
Well, it depends on the players. You know your players, you know your roster. If a player has a potential that they can get some opportunities that's beyond their situation, usually it depends on how they leave. If, most players, you're talking about young men, TD. There's some conversations probably had, and we got a cool ass players coach, man. You know what I'm saying? Coach TC, I know for a fact, advised a lot of the young men who were talking about possibly entering the portal, and he was very understanding. You look at John Huggins. John Huggins wound up leaving, going to New Mexico State, but he returned. And he had a great season with us, and hopefully has a chance to get to the next level. I know that he was in conversations with Shane Hooks, and he got a lot of love for Shane Hooks because he was the wide receiver coach, and he told me directly that wide receiver room is near and dear to his heart. But here's the thing, you when you're dealing with a coach, they're gonna tell you, yeah, I would love for you to be here, but if you got an opportunity that you want to cash in on, hey, I'm gonna respect the decision that you make. But it's not some coaches have this, if you enter the portal, to hell with you. But that ain't the type of coach we got. I think our coach is going to have a conversation with every player that enters the portal and just, let them know how you feel about them. And you bow out gracefully, or you try to re-recruit them and say, hey, I don't know if this is the best decision for you. Stick with us and let's talk about it. Why do you want to leave? You know what I'm saying? What do you want to, what can we do to get you back here? You know what I mean? And What can we do? And that's what we're not Alabama, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're not even Ole Miss, a school that's a Power 5 program in a power conference that got a shucks ton of money with the you get the pick of the litter. When you have that type of when you got that type of cachet and you got that type of you can kind of get away with a lot more and just say, all right, peace. I'm gonna holler at you. Let's move on. And before you even get your bags packed in your car out the lot, I already got 2-3 more players that's that I can bring in that's gonna fill in that role. And now your scholarship is no longer available. So it's some urgency to it. But this is what I always try to tell any and everybody. If we're not a part of those conversations, don't ever assume. Don't ever project and put your thoughts and opinions on that, because that's what a lot of us do. TD, a lot of us take what we would do and we start projecting that onto our coach. And then when our coach don't do what we think they should do, then we start having some qualms with the coach. And now we got animosity toward the coach. We got animosity toward the player. And you weren't even in the room to have that real conversation. And then when you really find out what really happened, you say, oh, I understand that. And then when you tell folk, they be like, oh, I ain't know. Well, of course you didn't know. You weren't a part of that conversation.
You wasn't in the room.
So what I tell everybody, Jack State fans, first and foremost, don't project. We don't know. I don't know a lot. And I ain't even, you inside or whatever, that whatever, however you want to label that. It's a lot we're not privy to, but it's a lot that we do get a lot of information that we're very, protective of certain things. But I was talking to somebody, man, listen, I was talking about this today. See, do you know what my dad told me? I live by this today. Always leave room for error.
Always.
That's what he told me. Always leave. He always would say, son, there's only one way to do it right, but always leave room for error. So what that means is, Rochelle, I can be convicted in my thought process about what I think, and I'm moving 100 miles per hour in that thought. But if I follow my dad's advice, I got to slow down. I got to slow it down and say, you know what if I'm wrong? That means I'm hauling tail towards a wrong thing. And most people that you talk to, they don't like to consider the possibility of them being wrong. They be convicted and then when they find out they were wrong, they just stay over there.
Excuses.
They just stay over there.
Yes.
Like somebody, but I ain't gonna go there.
We hate to admit we wrong. That's why we do what we do. I do be watching. I think some of y'all is, as y'all men say, y'all overly passionate. But I mean, trust the process. Like you said, we ain't in the room, so we don't know. And if that was them, you ain't them. So quit putting if I was them, you not them, and you don't know the situation. But I can tell y'all, I'm not gonna lie to y'all and tell y'all I wasn't kind of worried. It's like, what's gonna happen when the portal open? But to see the young men and they coming back with such passion about running back, and I was like, but come on and running back,
You know what these players see, Rochelle? We this close. That my guy go. Look at it. Hey, what's up, big dog? What's up, man?
I'm telling you, I was like, when I see him running back, I was like, come on. I'm like, I'm thankful.
But this is what we think.
Yeah.
We right there, bro.
On year one, though, Ken.
I'm talking about our team. Yes. This team is right there, man. And this is what I'm saying. If everybody around us start imploding, that's their business. Jackson State hold pat. You upgrade the room. Hey, TD, we get us some linebackers in that thing.
Listen.
We get us a couple of defensive linemen to add to the room. We get us some more cornerbacks to add to the room. We get that competition level. We raise that up a little bit. We got some dogs in the running back room. We got some dogs in the wide receiver corps. And boy, we got some big nasties up front. And you just hold pat. We get better with the situational play calling, a little better with the game management. You see what I'm saying? We right there, bro. A 7-14 is right there. What do you say? I just been saying, no need.
Listen, I want to say this
right there. And the coaches know that. I think the players know that. And all right. EA, you can get mad at me. Ain't the Celebration Bowl like next week or sometime? Man, ain't nobody talking about the Celebration Bowl. It's almost
not even the people that's in it. Wait, not even the people that's in it.
They talking about Jackson State. They
They
worry about
did talk about Jackson
I'm
State.
saying. So the Celebration Bowl, look, Celebration Bowl, folks, we're going to get our stuff together and we're going to be back. We know Atlanta is crying that Jackson State ain't in the Celebration Bowl. I know y'all don't want to hear it. I know y'all don't want to hear it. They want us back, and we want it back. We want that old thing back. We gonna be back. But I'm telling y'all like this: if y'all let us back in Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl, we won't lose next time. I can promise you.
We coming back with, but I thought that was fun. I'm like, why y'all still talking about Jackson State? I said, why y'all still talking about Jackson State? And y'all are like in the bowl. Go praise your team and give your team all the kudos it is.
What's up, Deputy Mario? What's up, TD?
Hey, Ken, I don't like doing a whole lot of predicting and projection, man, and I don't like to show a whole bunch of excitement, until I believe having, the bird in hand. But I'm gonna say this. From the way that the offense looked going out of the season, what we have as far as the majority of the offensive line returning, the receivers that we have, the tight end room that we have. I mean, I definitely, and I'm not just saying this, bro. I definitely love that tight end room, man. Those are big guys, man, and I hadn't seen a tight end drop the ball thrown their way. So in that, and definitely with the running back room being what it is in the signal caller, I'm pretty excited to see how this thing all gel and play out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's an excitement in the air. And one thing I would say, to elaborate on what you were saying about people still wondering why, the I guess the excitement may not be what it would be in Atlanta without the Tigers. These players got the best home, they in the best place, they get the best excitement. And come next year, when we headed to Atlanta, they're gonna definitely get the recognition that they deserve and be proud of the decision that they made to stay here and play, for Jackson State University, man. And so we're excited, we're proud to have them. We'll continue, right, Ken, to do our part, man.
Man, we're gonna do our best. I don't, and EA said they almost sold out. I just ain't really seen
almost sold out of what?
They said they almost sold out. So hey, that it could be. I think Howard FAMU in the Celebration Bowl. It's attractive. I guess everybody will watch it. But I don't. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my timeline. Maybe I don't see it. Maybe it's me. Since we're not in there. But well, everybody keep telling me. I had somebody inbox me today and say, "Man, when is the Celebration Bowl? I ain't heard nobody talking about it." I said, "Well, that's for them to talk about. We ain't in it. We ain't gonna do the marketing for y'all."
Listen,
you know what I'm saying? So, oh yeah, this is true. EA, by the way, them ticket scalpers, they're gonna buy it up, and then they're gonna turn around and sell it to y'all at a higher cost. So,
yes, Lord.
But at the same time, y'all enjoy it, man. Y'all go do y'all thing. Willie won the Coach of the Year. I think that was a no-brainer. He had a great season, and he, from we heard some rumblings of Willie Simmons' name popping up, and for some FBS opportunities. We'll see. That's what happens when you're good. They come get you.
Yeah,
I know.
So, public service announcement to Jackson State people: when the tickets go on sale, could y'all please purchase y'all tickets?
We're gonna have 5 home games next year. 5 games at the Vet. Of course, I ain't gonna get into the schedule talk right now, but I think we got a pretty decent schedule. Hearing a couple of things, a few rumors around the conference. Man, is where them Grambling folks at? Is Ed Reed gonna be a Grambling head coach? I think that's what they saying. They saying they gonna hire Ed Reed. I said, man, but we'll touch on that if that time comes. I ain't worried about that right now, but yeah, I ain't saying I'm not putting us in the Celebration Bowl. We got to go earn it. We got to go do it.
Right.
So he just confirmed that this afternoon. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know if he stay or if he go. It don't really matter to me. I just know y'all got to come. Said that's the word. Said he's in the top 3. Yeah. Are we playing Southern Miss? No, we play ULM, first game of the season in Monroe, Louisiana.
Okay.
And you're right, Ken. Definitely not putting us there because the work has got to be, put in. Got to put the work in, man. And even in our down years, you know, it's just something about us being on people's schedule and still being on the radar. Well, we have to play tough in every game. You know what I'm saying? So definitely got to put the work in. No one's gonna give it to us. It's not gonna be laid down. And you know what, Ken? I hope the team is built ready enough to where they can, you know, we won't have to worry about the refs. You put up enough point, you don't worry about what the refs do.
Yep.
I'll say this. ULM got a new head coach. I forgot where he came from. I got to look him up. Blue might know that. I just looked at it today and forgot already. But we don't know what that's going to look like or how they're going to look. I mean, that is a you know, that's a group of 5 program, and y'all saw we was close. We was close last year. I mean, 2 years ago. That was but I think hopefully we'll be ready, man. If we can come out there and put together a tough nosed team, I think we really could. We can go out there and possibly, you know, compete. But we'll be able to set the tone first game. And we got the whole offseason to prepare for that game. You know what I'm saying? Brian Vincent from New Mexico. That's right. I think he was New Mexico offensive coordinator. I think he was their OC. I think that's what it was. New Mexico. That's right. So, but yeah, Jency, we need you out there looking like Carrot, looking like I said Carrot Kittles. Kittle, Greg Kittle,
Debo.
Or Debo Samuel. But no, we had didn't our new president, didn't he have like a State of the Union address, something like that today? Anybody attend that? Israel, did you get by
there? Let me be quiet.
Don't be quiet now.
I wasn't there, but he wrote something, and I just, you know, I told him, I said, well, I just told him, I said, they introduced you to us on the garbage can top.
There you go, Trent. Come on up. Let's talk about it. I need to hear from you. That's what it was. Just a meeting. Just a meet and greet. Okay, all right.
I just told him, I said, they introduced you on a garbage can top, so I don't trust anything you do. Because
great way of putting that.
I'm serious. I did something. I said they introduced you on a garbage can lid, and your employers we don't trust. So I don't trust you. I've got to wait to see what you do, and then I get back at you. I was like, no disrespect to you, but I just need to see what he gonna do. Like if you do the water and get us some stuff and some housing, we have a conversation. But until then, hey Trent.
Trent, how did it go, bro? Welcome up, brother. Good to see you.
What's up, Trent?
How's everybody?
We're good. We're good. I see Ephraim said he was well received. No meet and greet. It was nice. He was well accepted. I just hope we get some. All right, keep going. Go ahead. How'd it go?
Okay. First of all, in full disclosure, the new president is actually married to a close family member of mine. Having said that, you know, I want to say, as has been said earlier, and I think Rochelle just put it very aptly, is that, you know, because the process was bastardized, then you have everybody who is what I term a stakeholder in the university is looking at the president with side eye. All right. Now, I understand that he had some pre-existing roots with Jackson State. His father's a minister at a pretty popular church here in the city, and he's a minister. In terms of the meet and greet itself, there's probably about 600 or 700 people there. A lot of alumni. The room was it to be fair, standing room only. He did not make a state of the state speech or what have you. It really was very lighthearted. The program itself was short, and most of the time was spent networking. You know, I was there probably about an hour and a half, and the length of the program, including the amount of time that he took to speak, was no more than 15 to 20 minutes. So it was not meant to be anything in depth. It was not meant to be anything more than what it was, which was just a welcome to him to Jackson State as the president. And so that was really all it was today. Now, I tend to be this kind of person, family or not. I will give you an opportunity until you show me that I'm out of reasons for giving you an opportunity. So, for better or worse, whether he's the person that we wanted to be the president, he is the president, and I'm going to give him every opportunity to work in the best interest of the university, because what IHL has showed us is that they're only interested in what's in the best interest of IHL.
Facts.
And he is a long-term IHL employee, and that, as Rochelle said, it does not introduce him into the job in the best light. And so he's going to have to work, and I think C. Lee said this last week, he's going to have to work extra hard getting a lot of these stakeholders who are going to take out on him the way that the process was run. He's going to have to work extra hard in order to get those people on board. And to answer Jeremiah's question, yes. But he's going to have to work extra hard and possibly harder than some other incoming presidents have had to work in the past in order to get people on board, because what IHL did was so blatant in this particular case. And so it makes people view the person that they actually selected with suspicion.
Good deal. Y'all got anything? So it was a 700. Not bad. It's not a bad turnout. Go ahead, TD.
Yeah, Brother Trent, I see one of the councilmen has a major issue with the decision. Is it just an issue that's just going to have to lie at his doorstep, or it's going to,
Ain't nothing we can do about it now.
I think that if President Thompson comes in and works and demonstrates that, he is of the mold of a Dr. Peoples, some other presidents that we've had who have really put the university first and tried to lift the university up. If he comes in and he shows that he is of that mold, then he will win people over. If he comes in and makes some questionable, it's very important. Early on, somebody says they want to see who's in the cabinet. One of the early decisions that's going to have to be made. You don't. I think you should be free to pick your own cabinet because you have to work with this team on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, perception is a lot. Perception. He's going to have to be mindful of perception, in particular, early on.
Yeah, I love this comment by Jerome. Said he watched it live on Facebook. He needs a group of mentors composed of reputable university presidents around the nation. The last little bit just is cause for pause. I gotta be honest with you. Sound like buying them a lot of religious innuendos. That's just I don't really and I'm
well, that goes back to the fact that he's a pastor.
I get that, but sometimes we tend to rely more on said intangible faith and less tangible work, when in actuality it actually goes hand in hand. You still have to do the job. I'm not saying he's not going to do the job, but it ain't, it's like saying, well, I'm praying to the Lord that he give me a job, but I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just
come through the window.
To knock on the door and say, who is it? Job
from the Lord.
It don't work like that. You got to pray and go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You got to put that work in, man, and just know that the operation is going to be dictated you'll show more of what you believe in by how you operate than anything.
Exactly.
And for those who don't understand that, your faith and your belief system will affect how you operate even in your profession.
For sure.
A lot of people like to think that that's something totally different. No, actually, it's not. It's a flow through from what we've been taught. It said as long as he didn't say God sent.
He said, as long as
I just at the end of the day, you have to understand something. This is the thing that you have to understand. Jerome lives in an area. The East Coast is a very intellectually driven sector of the country. Down south is where you get a lot of it's the Bible Belt, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why our previous coach was able to come in and kind of, win a lot of people over with words because we kind of fall for it. And then you got those who don't really hold people's feet to the fire because they say some things and they're talking their language and they get the riled all up and you get a good fuzzy feeling because, the Lord said this or the Lord said that. And it's not to say that he didn't say it, but it's also got to be followed with it's word and deed, not just word talking.
But this is a joke though, Ken, because we got PTSD. If he had said the Lord said that, I think we all would have had a flashback and it wouldn't have been nice. Because that's what we just dealt with from the second time around. So I got that joke what Jeremiah was saying is that if he had said that, I think all of us heart would have been like, we're not doing that again. So I'm
ready for the real meeting to discuss the plans, man. I don't care about none of this stuff. There is ain't no honeymoon for me.
None.
Yeah. Ain't no honeymoon, man. I just want to see the work. I don't want to be in another scandal. I don't want to. We tired of getting our teeth kicked in the public, man, and having to wear the sins of the leadership of the university at everybody's front door. It's a damn right outright embarrassment that we're in this position that we're in once again, and I'm sick of it. I don't want to talk. I want to know what your plan is, bro. And for those that know him and love him and get all fuzzy with all that rhetoric, look, man, you can keep that to yourself, and I ain't attacking him because I don't know him. I just want to know what the plan is. Ain't no honeymoon. There is no honeymoon. Ain't no fuzzy stuff for me. Like, how we gonna get to a certain? That's why the Jerome, I appreciate you reaching out to me. Today I'm excited about that, man, because as long as you're doing the work, I'm gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. As long as he's doing the work, I'm cool. This conversation got to translate, and we got to see. You know what? I learned being in this space and being out on social media. A lot of people are scared to have real dialogue about the things that are challenging.
Yes, sir.
Like conversations, man. We don't like to have them conversations. Why are we so scared to have a conversation?
Because we don't like to have them. Period.
I told you. I'm serious, and this goes for my family too. I'm not putting nothing out there. I'm sick. At some point in time, we're gonna have to stop acting like we don't know that the sick uncle did what they done did, and everybody want to be quiet about it and stuff. Like nobody wants to talk. But
everybody wants to keep the family peace over dealing with the trauma.
But this is what's funny about that. Everybody talks.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't talk in an environment where you can get some things rocking and rolling. I'm ready to rock and roll. You got to get uncomfortable, baby, in order for it to grow. So I ain't trying to get all into nobody's family business or nothing like that. I'm just saying, we gotta have real dialogue, man. That's the only way you're gonna get better. We just be talking at each other. We don't make no progress. Everybody mad. Everybody, you sat right up in there at grandma's house, looked at the joke upside their head and pat, asking for the fork. Hey, pat me there right there. He went act like don't nobody know nothing. Ain't nobody addressed nothing. Ain't nobody said nothing. And all the cousins effed up for what done happened. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going to therapy.
Family name. We protect the family. You right.
As soon as the culprit walks out the room, everybody like, you just as bad because you ain't said nothing. You ain't said nothing. I'm just saying, me first. I start right here. I'm just saying, man. I said this today. TD, I'm sorry, bro. I am not looking for new friends. I'm not in the business of friendship right now. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, if I have to withhold my truth to befriend you, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
I just gotta be real.
Hey, Rochelle, you know what bothered me the most about one of the things Ken said is when the person walk away from the table, everybody has something to say. Well, I'll take that just a step farther to say if I have a conflict, you know, or I have a confrontation with that individual, and instead of someone stepping up, backing me and addressing the issue for what it is, everybody just sit there on their hands and say nothing. And when they leave in the room,
cell phone all of a sudden,
you know, right, right. But then when they leave, you know, you was right. I'm glad you stood up to.
I want to hear that shit now. I want to hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got a bad.
I need you right in, Trent.
If I pricked anybody, I apologize. I ain't mean to go there. Yes, I did.
It needed to go there.
Well,
Hey,
nobody says anything until the one person says it. They leave him out there by himself, and then they say, "I was with you all along."
Right
after the situation has passed. I was with you all along.
Listen, hey, Mr. Jerome.
What's up, bro?
Hey, good evening. From Charlotte, how you guys doing?
Doing fine.
Hey, man, we good, man. We good, bro.
So I just wanted to jump in real quick. You know, what caused me to do that was I'm in a group meet chat with alums from across the nation, and we talk about various topics. And you know, when we saw the story on social media last week about the young man saying what he said, you know, and what he suffered mentally, I saw that it began to kind of grow wings and legs, and I'm like, here we go again. So there has to be something that we can do to be more proactive, as opposed to kind of doing it ourselves. And I'll say this, you know, to everyone on the panel, everyone in the chat, JSU alums have done a phenomenal job of promoting the university and defending the university on social media very well over the last year. And when I reached out to Alonda earlier this week, had a great conversation, and I essentially just led with the severity and, you know, the kind of importance of this. And I told her, you know, it's been like PTSD for a lot of alums throughout the nation, and some have kind of checked out. So I feel that it's pertinent right now that we become a bit more active and kind of recharge, if you will, so that we can reconnect with those alums. And she was totally on board. She loved my presentation. So we definitely look forward to, you know, connecting with her next Wednesday, just assembling a group of folks, and Ken included. Rochelle, love to have you on board. Just with respect to bringing some solutions to the table, with respect to how we can better market the university and tell our story, which will, of course, combat any type of negativity that is being directed towards us. Because as we see, it's coming not only from former JSU students, it's coming from other HBCU alumni, it's coming from national press. So we have a wonderful story to tell, and our students and the faculty are doing amazing things. I just think that from an alumni standpoint, because we may be a bit more abreast of what some of these students and alumni and faculty are doing, let's connect with the university so that we can, you know, kind of trot out a plan so that moving forward, the university and the brand will be taken care of. So I'm excited.
Can I just say something? You said something, Jerome. I think people, it went over a lot of our heads because, you know, the PTSD is real. And I don't think, you know, when you said that, we relate PTSD mainly for people in the military. But what PTSD is it's something that was traumatic. And what you said is definitely right. A lot of us were really and truly traumatized. And because we relate that to fighting a war, we don't necessarily relate it to our everyday lives. and what we experienced, not just about him, but the hard lies and the things that were said about our school, that mess was traumatic for a lot of us. And I don't think we realized, and that's one reason this platform came when it did, because we needed to come together somewhere, like all over. We were all over the different parts of these divided states of America, but we had a space where we can actually come in and help each other go through this, because we had never been through something like that before. So I don't think, when you said it, I don't think people really understand how much that stuff really and truly traumatized us. And it's still, because every time we think we're healing, here it comes again. Every time so it's like it's a wound that the scalp is just constantly being taken off, and it can never heal. And that's why it is it's so hard. It's just really, really hard. But when you said that, I was like, you are very right. I don't think people realize that how traumatizing that whole situation was.
Yeah, and I think I shared with you guys before. I've had different instances on my own job where over the last 2 or 3 years, I've had colleagues to follow Jackson State News, because we were, I like Jackson State platform that we had a lot of
Hello, Jerome.
You
Jerome,
bad, Jerome.
you're in the matrix.
Here. Uh-oh. You hear me better?
Okay, we can hear you now.
I'm sorry. The past 3 years, universities across America would have paid millions to have the platform that Jackson State had. So we had a lot of eyes on the university with respect to the research and, of course, our former coach and et cetera. And some of my colleagues, they followed Jackson State. And, as things kind of deteriorated with that relationship, to hear them say some things like, hey, what's going on with your school, and wanting to kind of talk about it, was like, okay, wow, like I'm actually talking about this on my job. and I've heard from other alums across the country that have had the same experience. So that's another level of that PTSD, so we just want to come together, with a university official or officials, to come up with some plans moving forward of what we can do to further promote the university, which will entail, kind of combat what we're seeing. But to Ken's point, with respect to the current president, I'm a Christian, right? I love the Lord, but I do know, as a public institution, we have to be very careful, because I know a lot of us kind of joked about, that group out there in Colorado that told Brian that he needed to coach. It is a public institution, and university leadership is leaning towards a bit of a religious side. It could open a lawsuit from a student.
Are you moving around, Jerome? That it's like it go into like computer love, But let me see. Make sure you're in a good spot.
I hate this. So
there you go. There you go. You good now.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Hear you just fine. Stay right there.
Okay. So I'm just saying, with respect to Ken's point, I just want to say, I am a Christian, but I do know there has to be a line drawn between the university and, of course, religion. And we're a public institution, so I'm hoping that he doesn't get too far left with that message, because we are a public institution, and that could lead to a possible lawsuit, from a student who may not be a Christian, things like that. So, so I really want him to, and if I get an opportunity to connect with him, I'm definitely going to suggest that he gets a group of mentors from across the nation to kind of really, because with any position that we all get, regardless of your company, if you're a university, you need a group of mentors that you can be advised from, to seek counsel and to kind of augment and help you to grow as a leader. So that's my main takeaway from tonight. I'm really glad that there were a lot of alums that showed up. I'm glad that, of course, we still love the university, but we still have to have the mindset that we need a president, not a pastor. So I'm excited about new partnerships. I'm excited about open dialogue, and I look forward to next Wednesday's call. And Ken, I have no doubt, you'll come to the table with some really great. Yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I am too. I'll say this about that. There's we all wear multiple hats, right? We got various different roles. If you put 5, I can name 5 different individuals, and I'm the same person, and I'm going to respond to every last one of them differently. I have a role. My administration with each individual is going to be totally different. At the schoolhouse, though, I'm going old school. We need the president to be the president. He's a pastor. I'm sure there's a venue that's where that, you can go and get a message and all that good stuff. But what happens though is that whatever, like I said, your belief system is and whatever is in you, it should actually be in you and with you wherever you go. So really, I just hope that who he is and what he believes flows through him, and he has the integrity. Like I said, I don't know him. I'll get to know him. We need integrity. We need the integrity. We need honesty. We need great leadership. And he may have all those attributes, but we got to see it done. And really all we want is, and that's not to say you can't be a faith-driven person and you can't even speak it. That's not what they're saying, because I can already tell, because this is what happens, man. When you talk to a lot of folks that just go to church, they don't want you to challenge nothing. It's all or nothing. And that's not the point. The point is you can be holy and just it be that light be illuminated by how you operate and not by how you talk. You don't believe me? I'm gonna use TD as an example. It's my brother. TD is a man of very few words, but when he speaks his points. But it ain't about what he's saying. It's about how he lives his life. You follow what I'm saying? It's about how he carries himself. The message of how you operate is going to be way louder than what you can say. So all we're saying is that we welcome the message, whatever that may be. I welcome that. But we hope that the message from a, faith-driven standpoint is communicated through action as a great leader of the institution. That's the point. That's the point, because a whole lot of words without action and real tangible plans and real progressive thoughts that are leading to systems being put in place that can be, carried on throughout the years, and some things that we can be proud of. Like we need a real diagnosis for where we are. I want to hear the diagnosis. I want our president to be able to say, this is where we are.
Yeah, how bad it is. Tell us the truth. Don't tell us
how bad it is.
Don't tell me not to sit on Uncle Wade. Don't tell me to sit on
There's nobody with an illness can go to the hospital that don't want a real diagnosis, man. If you do, everybody knows that if you feel bad and them folk running them tests, you want doctor tell me what's wrong with me. You see what I'm saying? I want to know. Because what you're trying to do is figure out, how can I get back to feeling good again? You know what I'm saying? So that's where we are right now. That's the state of the state. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at right now. So that's what I want. I want a real, true diagnosis as far as where we are. I am interested to see, like I said, who he hires in for his cabinet, and we need to see tangible, like a real plan, man. And this is something that I just kind of trusted. I didn't really investigate Bynum, even though the process was trash. I just assumed, okay, the dude, he gonna get the job done. And then what happened. Thomas Hudson, we felt like, I just assumed, surely he's gonna get this right and he's not gonna screw us or nothing like that. And then what happened. And then now here we are, and it's like, no, I'm not trusting no more. You know, and you got to blame the ones that became before you, and you also got to blame the process in which we got handed you. So at this point, I hope everybody feels this way respectfully, though, not disrespectfully, because don't disrespect the man for the bad process. I love what Rochelle said. He got served to us on the trash can, bro. He did. Go ahead, TD.
Yeah, I was going to ask Jerome. I mean, from a physical standpoint, or what are you really looking for out of the president?
Sure. So a couple of key points. Number one, I would like a strategic plan, a plan that consists of multiple different arms. So number one, how does he plan to increase enrollment? How does he plan to address the lack of housing? How does he plan to construct a viable roadmap for R1 status? How does he plan to improve campus safety? How does he plan to increase the aesthetics of the physical plant of the institution? And how does he plan to address our damaged image? Those are things that I would like to see him address day one within the next 6 months. I feel as though I've seen a lot of times in the corporate world where people come in and take over a certain line of business or a certain department. They've already done the research on that actual line of business or department. So when they come in, they put together, of course, a SWOT analysis, they have a plan, and they hit the ground running day one. And I think that's what Ken was saying or alluding to. We don't want any more honeymoons. It shouldn't take you a year or 2 years to fill out the university or to fill out the culture. You should already come in knowing the culture because you've done your due diligence to know what you're already up against. So for me, for the next 6 months, those variables are what I would like to see from Dr. Thompson. And then moving forward, I would love to see us go ahead and launch a strategic capital campaign as we get ready for our 150th anniversary in 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And I would love for us to, of course, reestablish or establish more partnerships with universities across the nation. We had some wonderful partnerships with Howard. I think some are still in place, some with A&T and a couple of Ivy League schools. I don't know where those partnerships are. And that kind of goes back to Rochelle and Ken's point with the diagnosis. Where do we stand? So, and I say that because we have students who chose to go to grad school elsewhere outside of Mississippi. And they felt as though those graduate programs were way more supportive. And I'm talking about for law school, medical school, et cetera. They felt like those programs were way more supportive of them as opposed to the feedback that they got from some of the schools there within Mississippi. So I want us to have way more options for our students to be able to grow and also to create spaces for those students to network with alums, to prepare them for law school or for medical school or whatever graduate program you're looking to go into, because some of the feedback that I've gotten from students is that quite a few of the deans, quite a few of the advisors are overwhelmed. So they can't necessarily get that mentorship or guidance from them. So that's where the alums are, to step in, but there has to be a space for alums to step in and provide that personal professional development. But I hope that wasn't too, I hope that answered the question.
Yes, I mean, it answered the question. I mean, if that's the answer that that you wanted to give, for sure. As far as growth, when you say growth, as far as housing and stuff for students, are you expecting things on campus? Are you expecting the build up around campus? As far as security, are you looking for gates? Are you looking for more boots on ground?
Yeah, so I would love to have an omni-channel approach. Exactly what you're proposing, because when it comes to enrollment, a lot of schools that have increased their enrollment, especially urban universities such as like NC State, UNC Charlotte, et cetera, they're not just solely relying on students physically being on campus. they're increasing their capacity for online learning. So I feel like that's a great opportunity for Jackson State to tap into that online space to increasing its enrollment.
Yes.
But I also, yeah, and I also feel, when it comes to dorms, most students, of course, in 23, they're not necessarily looking for traditional style housing. So, of course, we can increase the amount of student apartments, around campus, which would inadvertently kind of, increase the quality of life around campus and the aesthetics, which
Yep.
could, of course, kind of work hand in hand with improving the safety around campus. With respect to your question about, more technology, I did see A&T's town hall where they addressed some of the same issues we're having when it comes to campus safety. And they're implementing quite a bit of new technology around campus that has already shown to kind of curb or decrease the amount of reported crimes around campus. So, but still within that, I feel as though we're going to need maybe some industry experts at the table to address some of those issues, especially with campus safety.
You know what? I'm going to add this, TD. My answer is simple. I want to hear what you got. I ain't giving no suggestions, and I ain't telling what I want. I'm interested to see what the president is going to come up with. We've been having the same problems for quite some time. There's no way in the HE double hockey sticks you can be at IHL for 14 years. That means you've been there as long as we've had the president. You was there on the shit. That was Myers. I mean, you've been there for a minute, bro.
So
So you've seen a lot, and he's an alum, PhD. I'm curious to hear what he has to come with it, what his plan is. And you know what, TD? You know what brings about a plan? SWOT analysis, an actual diagnosis of where you are. You are here. Remember that mall sign with that little thing on the thing when you walk through the door and it say you are here?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good tool, because if you're trying to get to JCPenney, you need to know that JCPenney is on the other end, because you have been there wasted a whole lot of steps just walking all around and you won't see JCPenney. But if you use that little map and it say you are here, okay, JCPenney is here. Okay, I need to go this way. I can get there a lot quicker. So my point is, if you really and truly do a true diagnosis as far as where we are, you can assess. It's a needs analysis. You can assess what we need from there, and then you can go about to establish a plan. And that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. That's it. We can come up with a lot of stuff, but sometimes I think what happens, TD, is when we start making our suggestions, it takes away from what they have to give, because you got to give substance. I would love for all the alums to walk in and just be quiet and ask the questions and just look at him and see what he got to say. And then take notes and ask for a follow-up meeting and see how soon when are we going to be able to meet again and see if we can have some type of timetable or progression. We got to get this stuff rolling, man. Because what we always do is we go numb and we act like it's going to happen. And then that time go by, we get back distracted with our life and football and sports and all the other stuff we get caught up in, and nothing changes. Nothing changes. It just stays the same. And you look up, somebody been there 2-3 years and you ain't made no progression. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen under him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think we all need to be more intentional about what we're asking. We need to be intentional about follow-up, and we need to be intentional about setting the tone and the right expectations when it comes to the things that we want Dr. Thompson, our new president, to take the lead on. Hopefully he be in place for a while. I really do, because I don't want to be back in this position again. You get what I'm saying? No time soon. So we're gonna roll with who we got. How we got him is something that we can address on a whole nother ordeal. That's a separate issue. But while we're in the house, we got to work together, bro. It's like, you know, I see the movies, man, and be like, bro, I ain't asked you to be here, man, but we got to be here together. We got to make this thing work, man. I ain't choose you. But I ain't gonna mistreat you because you ain't my choice. You get what I'm saying? So, I would have liked it to go a different way, but my faith, my belief system says don't nothing happen that God don't want to happen. So I'm gonna make peace with it. I ain't got to like what's in his will, but I do have to accept it, and I have to align with it because I can't go to sleep knowing that I'm not at peace.
Come on, that peace, peace.
War is the absence of peace, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna be at war with something God decided and he done already done it. You better make peace with it like yesterday and move on and be happy. And I ain't mad that the president is who he is no more. The process stinks, and we can say that, but at the same time, we got to make this thing work. We got to make peace with it and just, come on with the come on. And that's where we are now. That's where we are now.
Can I ask Jerome a question? Is he going to meet with the alumni chapter, the national alumni?
Yeah, so he made mention again tonight that he plans to do a tour similar to what President Hudson? Yeah, President Hudson did a tour, and Dr. Thompson plans to do the same thing, engaging with alums to gain information and feedback and partnerships. My whole thing, though, for the panel, TD and Rochelle, Ken, this is a new generation. And even with the older generation, their minds have evolved. And what I mean by that is the days of asking people or telling people, just give, or just do this, or just donate, those days are over. So I want these people to understand if you're asking for our monies, you also need to be expected to hear our voices and to hear our suggestions and to hear our feedback. And I think they're finally starting to get that because, of course, as we are heading into Day of Giving next spring, I want them to be fully aware and prepared of the feelings of the alumni across the nation. They don't want to hear, oh, let's gear up for Day of Giving when the university has not reached out to them, when they have not heard from the institution. So, yeah. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, Jerome, I know you said he's going to do a tour, but I need to know, but is he going to sit and have a meeting?
This is what I don't want our alums to do. And I'm keeping it a buck. The dog and pony show it don't yield results, man. The photos and the photo ops and everybody, let me take a picture and post it on my IG that I met the president, and you leave with a fuzzy feeling with no substance, no real tangible nothing. And that right there don't do nothing for us. I know Timona joined, and I'm real curious to hear what she got to say because I know how she feels about it. But I'm gonna shut up and let it. What's up?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm what's up, Timona? Make peace in the midst of a war right now.
So I'm gonna just be here real quick. I just want to speak on some things. On a serious note.
Yep.
At this point, especially with things like security or dorms or funding, we have somebody who is in a place that he's been with the IHL for years.
Yep.
So I don't need to do a SWOT analysis because being that you have access to all these other campuses, you already know the ins and outs. I would actually hold him to a higher standard than any other president coming in trying to build a relationship with IHL. So this is what I would want. Legislation passed to allow Alcorn State, Jackson State, and Mississippi Valley State accept federal bonds. Right now, we're not allowed to do that, which is why we cannot take advantage of the HBCU capital finance program that they have, where they issue loans so that we can get our infrastructure. So to me, the way it looks, the way the takeover happened, it looks like IHL is trying to pacify Jackson State by putting this person into place. But for me, I'm looking at it as, since you're in this place and you worked for IHL, certain things need to be done. And we don't need a 2 or 3 year plan. They need to be rolling and rocking now. Yep. So the water system, our own water system. That's like probably some of the off of the top 3 things that I would like to see. So the water system, the HBCU finance or capital finance program, because it doesn't look like the legislation in Mississippi is going to give us what we need.
Nope.
And then I posted a link in the chat. I'm going to repost it. The HBCU presidents have already went to the White House to speak on security, advanced national security, and campus security. They've already talked about these issues, literally, in Washington, D.C. Our former President Hudson was there. That was in February of 2023 before he had to resign. So we already know what those problems are. They've already assessed these issues. They already have that SWOT analysis that you guys were talking about. We need the funding. That's it. Pure point blank. We don't need to have a conference about it. A lot of these issues that we have are already have already been studied, or we already know what it is. We just need the action. So from him, because he was in IHL for so long, I'm expecting for the action, and I'm expecting for you to utilize that time that you had at IHL to get things done.
Love it.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got it. Go ahead.
I just say, Tamona, I totally agree. And I saw Victor Wyatt put in the chat, where's the money? That's the importance of having a leader that comes to the table with national relationships and resources. And the reason why I keep pushing the terms national and global, we're Mississippi. It's not like we don't know the politics of the state. So the politics of the state are very longstanding, very well documented. So we have to have a leader in place who has those national and international relationships, who can make a phone call and say, hey, bro, we got this going on. I need this amount of money. Can you write a check? Or to have the resources when it comes to grant writers, et cetera, to actually, reach out to those corporations or federal contracts or agencies to be able to write for those, to be able to apply for those grants from the federal level, so that we can go ahead and attain those monies and apply it on campus. That is really what it's going to take. It's not just going to be alumni. I mean, our alumni already give overwhelmingly. We're going to need leadership that can reach out on a national and international level to garner even more money to get what we need done.
Hey guys, I'm not sure if it's announced or not or posted anywhere, but like you're talking about the fundings, Jerome. I mean, even with the days, with the Day of Giving 40x40 campaign, are those resources ever reported, or the amount that was collected and what is headed toward? I mean,
no, and honestly, that was one of my gripes when I talked to President Hudson before he stepped down. We had a national meeting, and he shared with us the large amount of money that we raised just fall 2022 for the GAP Fund, as well as towards the endowment. And we were all astounded. But I'm like, where is it on social media? Like, where's the follow-up? You got to be able to tell these alums and these shareholders and supporters, this is what has been raised. So therefore, they're going to want to continue to give that money. So there's a lack of communication. I'll just say that. And I'll leave that for next Wednesday when we have that broader conversation. But you're absolutely correct, TD. We need to be able to share our story with our alums to make them feel empowered to do even more.
I know, because I questioned it. I questioned it myself. I mean, there was times where, I remember, I think after the first Celebration Bowl around that time, they was asking some of the alums to donate $100 and stuff like that. I did so and more, and then so I get to asking the question, okay, whatever become of that? I don't see nothing new. I mean, what's really going on? Days of Giving, same thing. I mean, I've seen, you know, at other schools, you know, where they're going to build a new cafeteria or a new weight room or something like that. They lay out the plans, the diagram, how much it's going to cost, the time we're going to take to build it. I mean, we get nothing.
Can I
That
just
will
say,
be discussed.
well, TD, one of the things we do, unfortunately, is that we kind of treat the school the same way we treat churches. We have building funds with no objective. And that's one reason that, for instance, here, the reason the building fund worked so well is because we had a vision and we saw it. And like Jerome said, the days of us just giving with no accountability is over. We have a right to know what we're doing. So if they like to say, if you're giving us a project and this is where the money is going, we know it's tangible, we can see it. But it's kind of like we're kind of like some of the black churches that have a building fund, and we never see nothing being built, but we're constantly asking for the money. Those days are over, and it's time for us to be now 100% accountable, and it's time for us to be transparent. And like Ken said, we don't have to be disrespectful in it, but we just have to say, this is the way this stuff have to go. We're not giving like that anymore. And they got to understand. And I think the communication part, I'm excited for y'all on Wednesday, is that we don't know how to effectively communicate. And that's just across the board. Like, for instance, how Ken just said, we don't know how to have those hard conversations, right? And I tell my people, whenever I have to have a conversation with someone that I know it's going to be hard, I start off with this: I love you too much to lie to you. So I love you too much to lie to you. And I got to tell the truth on this. Jackson State, my alum, my school, I love you too much to lie to you. We can't go doing this no more. We got to have these hard conversations and still be respectable.
Well,
And you know, Rochelle, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think we got really good reason from a university standpoint to be. I see Marvin put in that word transparency. When you have a big figure that walked out the room and publicly blasted us as though there was some unethical business practices going on and whatnot, that should have been, kind of a sign to be more transparent with alums and donors to make sure that everyone is clear. I think sometimes we miss opportunities too on funding and fundraising because of lack of transparency.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much as people being nosy. It's just that people want to know where we are. People can get this. If you have a mission and a goal and you put it in front of people, people can get excited about that. But if they don't know where we at on it and we trying to hit $1 million and we don't know if we hit it or we didn't, sometimes they'll say it. But I mean, at the same time, I'm real curious and excited at the same time to see what's going to come from this. And I hope it's not just a meeting that falls on deaf ears. I really hope that there's some tangible action following behind the meeting that we do plan on having on Wednesday. Go ahead, Jerome.
For anyone in the chat who may be confused as to what we're talking about, TD asked that question, Rochelle followed up, Kim followed up. To give you an example, we raised, so when I was over the social media for one of the affinity groups, I would post after every game to donate the amount that we scored, the football team scored.
Okay.
We raised a ton of money, y'all. It was bananas. So, but most of that money went towards the GAP fund. So as I've expressed to a couple of university leaders, the follow-up is for those students from across the nation that have benefited from the GAP fund, why not do a quick 60-second video of each student, drop it on social media of them saying, hey, they don't have to say how much they got, but this was my need. And because of you, I went to the GAP fund and I was able to get what I needed. And I want to thank everybody in the JSU community. That's something that simple. I mentioned, of course, there's a bank who partnered with Jackson State November 21, starting the first financial literacy program at any HBCU. I said, hey, where's the follow-up with that? Because I went to that bank to see how we can secure even more funds. And that's what they asked me. Jerome, that's your alma mater. Where's the follow-up? Yeah. Where's the video of these students benefiting from this financial, And we talked about, of course, all these huge grants that we're getting from the federal side, from NIH, et cetera. In order for them to want to give us even more money, they want to know, what are we doing with that money? Where's the follow-up? Yeah. And it's cool for those department leaders who are giving those follow-ups in written word to those companies. That's fine. But from a PR standpoint, those companies want to see that follow-up on social media. So these are some. Sorry, go ahead.
So is this information for us to follow this, no matter what entity bring it forward and put it for us university? Is that stuff supposed to be for public knowledge, or is it written down somewhere? I mean, because this is what we're losing people. Yep. I mean, we place all our money. I mean, we place all our love and trust toward our football team, and there are things that needs to be done better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And then you know, you have some people that may look at what we do as a group and have whatever, say whatever they want to say about what we're trying to do to make things better, because we feed on the ground. I mean, a gator is needed. Things are needed to make our athletic program and the money making program for the school much better. And I'm just not understanding for the life of me, you know, where's everything go? You know, where's everything going? That's the frustrating part, and that's on my end. So then you take a family that, you know what I'm saying, who are doing the best they can to you know, to make ends meet, and then they're making an extra sacrifice for thee I love because they love thee, and then, you know, they have nothing to show for it. So
that's because
transparency.
We do things the way that they've always been done, regardless of the level of success that we've achieved from that. You know, and the old phrase is, you do what you always done, you're going to get what you always got.
That's right.
And in a lot of ways, that's where we are. You know, I'm glad, you know, AD Ashley Robinson is doing some new things, and I'm glad to see them. Right. But there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of engagement that needs to be had. And we need to be working towards it sooner rather than later.
I want to say this before I go, and I'm glad that Jerome, you said that on Wednesday. It's people from Jackson State that's in the meeting concerning that.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing about that is that and this is not Jackson State, because I believe even though we are far behind in the electronic world, it's so many more HBCUs that is far worse than us, because we are scared we don't like change. And what I've realized is that it's not the fear of failure, it's not the fear of success, it's the fear of the unknown. And for a lot of us at Jackson State, we have people that are in positions that are fear of the unknown because they do not know how to do that. And so for a lot of us, we are still doing things the way we've always done it. And that's why we get what we have versus let's go out there and jump out of it. I think Martin Luther King said you got to take the first step when even you don't even see it. And so for a lot of people, and I'm excited that they want to know, is that we are thinking that we can survive this thing without bringing in social media. I don't see too many other HBCUs even dealing with social media. Like ain't nobody got time for that. It's not really needed. Yeah, it is really needed. So for Jackson State to even acknowledge that is a very good sign. But we are decades behind when it comes to us showing what we can show on. And now even I'm realizing, for instance, on all the beautiful stuff that we put up on Twitter, we need to have a constant hashtag. And I don't think like half of the people know what a hashtag is for. Public service announcement, you put in a hashtag, anything that hashtag is connected to, it'll fall underneath. A lot of the people in the departments don't know that because they're just posting stuff and there is no hashtags attached to it. So it needs to be that type of conversation. And if you don't know, the Bible says, for my people perish.
For lack of knowledge.
For lack of knowledge. And that is going across the board. We are perishing financially because of the knowledge that we don't know. But watch this. And because of the knowledge, we don't even want to acknowledge that we don't even know. And it is destroying us. But it can be better if people just acknowledge and say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. That's it. That's all. Okay.
What's that?
So I'm excited. I do believe you, Carolyn. Some audits need to take place. God dog. That's why I would really wish it was somebody.
Hey, that's a good
I'm
that's
serious.
a good stopping point. Man, this is good stuff. I'm glad you came up, Jerome and Tamona. Man, great stuff. I love what Tamona said. Look, man, you've been around long enough to know what our issues are. We gotta get active.
Everything. I like that one. Because they done denied it all. Ken, while you playing, everything we wanted to get, they kind of said no to it. So they know what we need.
Use them partnerships, man. Make sure we able to get what we need. Period, point blank. I know I saw some people saying something about, he would push against the university before he pushed against. That's the fear, and that's where we got to push against that. That's where the level of accountability come into play at. We got to be there. We got to hold feet to the fire
all the way.
Well, what I would tell him is, you can't serve two masters.
Nope.
Listen, you either
choose
Jackson State or you're not.
Rochelle, what's the verse? Choose this day whom you gonna serve.
Yes, sir. Listen, that's why my name is Miss No Gray. You either for Jackson State or you not. They ain't no in between. Which one are you? Speak now, forever hold your whole peace.
I think that's Joshua, the 24th chapter right there, brother.
Yes, sir.
So
you know, put some of them hard scriptures on them.
Look, as my Kojic friends say, heaven and hell, or get right or get out. So,
yeah.
But no, hey, I want to thank y'all so much for an awesome discussion. Ken, I'll be sending you and Rochelle, of course, the links once it's provided by Alonda. But for everyone in the chat, just continue to excel in that JSU standard of excellence and the I love.
Let's go, baby. Appreciate you for coming up, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for letting me put in my little 2 cents.
Hey, anytime. We love it, man. We appreciate it.
It was more like a dime. We appreciate you, Timona.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Good night. All right, gentlemen. I'm gonna say my good nights also. Tomorrow's a work day. So
yeah, I'm about to say mine too. Yeah, we all about to roll.
I'm out. Yeah, I love Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Everybody. Peace out. Good night, everybody.